Sean Malone outside the Festus Public Library, where discussions of a potential data center continue. I've got that story coming up.
Mayor Spencer makes a plea to state legislators to not let the police department spend as it wishes.
We're operating on very, very thin margins.
I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Cloudy with periods of rain and a thunderstorm today, high 57.
We get the latest on Cardinal baseball and a busy college basketball schedule on the way at 6:15.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by JTV.com.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Both sides are stepping up attacks in the Iran war. Blasts ringing out in Tehran as the conflict heads into day 4. Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
The hardest hits are yet to come from the U.S. military.
The U.S. has closed embassies in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait after 6 American soldiers were killed.
I'm Dil Gavlak in Amman, Jordan. Saudi Arabia's defense ministry reports that 2 drones struck the U.S. embassy, causing a limited fire and some material damage. It was empty at the time of the attack. There were no reported injuries. President Trump said the U.S. would soon respond to the attack on the embassy and to the killing of U.S. service members in Kuwait.
The Red Crescent reports at least 787 people have been killed in the war so far. There are security concerns after the deaths of those 6 U.S. troops. CBS's James Laporta.
We're told that the early warning system at this place had a hard time detecting drones, and that in the week prior to the attack, that the alarm would sound, but sometimes the alarm would come late.
Israel has launched fresh strikes on Iran and Lebanon. The BBC's Yolande Nell from Jerusalem.
Israel's Defense Minister Israel Katz said that the Israeli military would seize strategic areas in Lebanon to stop fire on Israelis living along the border in the north of the country. The move is a new blow to Lebanese sovereignty and the 2024 U.S. brokered ceasefire deal that brought an end to a year of full-on fighting between Israel and the Lebanese armed group Hezbollah.
Prime Minister Netanyahu tells Fox the war will be quick and decisive. Oil prices are soaring after Iran closed off a crucial shipping route, Strait of Hormuz. A third person has now died after he was taken off life support following a shooting at a bar in Texas Sunday. Investigators say it may be tied to terrorism. The suspect, U.S. citizen from Senegal, wore an undershirt with a design similar to an Iranian flag. CBS's Camila Montoya Galvez is in Austin.
It looks like officials are trying to determine categorically whether this man was, at the very least in part, motivated by that attack to carry out that mass shooting.
Lawmakers investigating the Jeffrey Epstein case have released videotaped testimony from Hillary and Bill Clinton. The former president was asked,
"Did you ever have any communications with Mr. Epstein that related to young women or girls?"
No.
He denied ever visiting Epstein's island. Dow futures are down 789. This is CBS News.
Looking for spring jewelry looks? Find them at Jewelry Television. New customers get $20 off purchases of $99 or more at JTV.com.
It is 6:03. It is a stormy morning out there right now. We've got some rain, lightning, thunder, 40 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman, a St. Louis expert on international relations, says the U.S. needs to be alert to violence from groups sympathetic to Iran.
We know that Iran has quite a few sympathizers across the world. Again, we've heard that after the death of the Ayatollah Khamenei, we've heard those sympathies coming to light. And absolutely, we should be aware of what's happening outside of the region.
That's Danny Bello, Webster University international relations professor, saying the military conflict is already having an economic impact.
Following the killing of the Ayatollah, the American Jewish Committee's St. Louis director, Nancy Lisker, tells KMOX she hopes the war in Iran brings the international community together.
We hope that these will be over in a few weeks and that the world will come together and peace will prevail.
She says the responsibility for this war is on Iran for targeting American and Israeli military personnel and ignoring international nuclear guidelines.
The war is bringing changes to a local Air Force base. Scott Air Force Base has suspended the Trusted Traveler program, which allows authorized Department of Defense personnel to vouch for passengers in their vehicle, granting them entry into the base. In a statement, Scott Air Force Base says visitors can still enter the base, but must present a real ID, passport, or social security card with a photo and undergo a criminal background check.
What are the city of Festus and Jefferson County asking of CRG in order to build a data center?
That was the topic of discussion amongst their leaders. Festus Mayor Sam Richards believes those who are opposing data centers aren't representative of how most residents feel.
But we have 14,000 people, and we have maybe 75 to 100 people who show up at our meetings and just absolutely don't want it.
He says their concerns about water and electrical usage will still be a part of their asks of any potential data center development. Outside Festus Public Library, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Data centers in Missouri have received $77 million in tax breaks. The Post-Dispatch reports the state has worked to bring in data centers over the past decade through an incentive program that offers the breaks.
The new data shows the centers have invested almost $2 billion in the state, and they've been granted tax breaks totaling $77 million. The incentive program is expected to grow with every data center built in Missouri. At least 5 proposals are being considered in the St. Louis region alone.
The week after the state-controlled police board unilaterally upped what the city would be forced to spend on police, Michael Calhoun reports state legislators are looking to make the city, not police department, responsible for lawsuit judgments.
St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer testified before a Missouri Senate committee against the bill that would give the city's state-appointed police board more financial autonomy.
Moving funds within the police budget that are set aside for litigation for other matters is fiscally irresponsible.
Spencer tells senators the police department's legal exposure makes that risk even greater.
We had several large settlements, and I believe we have between 50 and 70 cases outstanding that are considerable. You may have seen recently an $18 million judgment. It was reduced to just over 8, but these are judgments that often carry very, very significant costs, and they are a large burden to us.
The mayor asked lawmakers to let the still new governance transition to state control work itself out before imposing more changes. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
It's pothole season. MoDOT's Becky Almaroth says drivers should expect to see many road crews out there fixing damaged pavement.
Not uncommon on a daily basis for MoDOT to have 250 to 300 crews just patching potholes.
MoDOT crews fixed 650,000 potholes last year. Cost about $20 million to do that. You can report a pothole on the highway to the navigation app Waze.
Well, it's dark out there and wet, so use caution if there are any potholes around. We'll take a look at traffic next from Roger Brand at 6:08.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from
We can be twinsies.
to
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It is 6:10. Let's get you a check of traffic and weather. Roger Brand has the latest for us from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
No, Debbie, it looks like they may have cleared whatever it was. I'm assuming maybe it was a stall. I just couldn't tell, but it was in the construction zone northbound 55 at Highway Z because traffic is just slow there now where it was jammed earlier. However, the jam goes south of McNutt. It's south of McNutt jammed to the Joachim Creek, and then it's slowed as on northbound 55. So again, the front end of it's opening up, but the delays themselves overall are getting longer. They just dispatched emergency crews for a rescue crash reported eastbound 70. They said near National Bridge. We've got a westbound crash on 70 east of Cypress. That one's got traffic jam back to Air Flight, a tractor trailer involved. It looks like at least the right lane is shut down there, and it's also a little heavy. Westbound 70 just west of Hanley. Looks like we have a minor incident there. That one's not a jam, just a little bit of a slowdown. So, again, roads are wet because we've had earlier issues, so be careful out there. We also had an incident, minor crash in the left lane, eastbound 370 east of Elm Newtown. It sounds like they're trying to move that one over to the shoulder as we speak, but again, a little bit of a backup there as well. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The Builder's St. Louis Home and Garden Show returns to America Center March 6th through 8th.
Shop hundreds of local companies for home improvement deals.
Come to our amazing outdoor living space.
Find ideas, inspiration, and expert advice.
Details at stlhomeshow.com.
Cloudy today and tonight with rain at times, along with a thunderstorm or two. Our high today up to 57. Tonight's low 47. Occasional rain and a thunderstorm or two tomorrow, the high 63. There could be a shower or thunderstorm early Thursday, otherwise mostly cloudy and warm, the high 68. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now we have rain falling mostly on the Illinois side and just to the north of downtown St. Louis, North County, getting wet from Florissant over to Wood River, Illinois. It is 40 degrees.
At 6:12, the lawsuit East St. Louis filed against Monsanto for years of pollution has been tossed by a judge who says it was filed too late. East St. Louis seeking damages for years of toxic chemicals from the Sauget plant, which manufactured PCBs from 1936 to 1977. Incinerated chemicals after 1977 were disposed of in toxic dumps.
The city says Monsanto is in violation of its municipal littering and nuisance ordinances, for which the fine is $750 a day. Lawyers for East St. Louis wouldn't comment to the Post-Dispatch, but did say the city faces immense financial obligation if it cannot recover PCB cleanup costs through this suit.
St. Louisans gathered yesterday to celebrate the life of 28-year-old skating coach Sam Linehan, who was shot and killed last month in the Starbucks drive-thru on South Grand. Skater Sophie Henderson tells Fox 2 the loss is still difficult to process.
I think the first thing is just shock. I mean, you never expect something like this to happen to someone you know until it does. It shouldn't happen.
58-year-old Keith Brown is facing charges of first-degree murder and robbery in connection to that shooting. He is being held without bond.
A Baldwin woman made a surprise visit Sunday to the St. Genevieve Detention Center, where her husband Alejandro is being held ahead of his deportation to Mexico. Janie Perez says the visit was a tearful one.
Alejandro Perez was sentenced last week to time served after pleading guilty to illegal reentry. The family has not been able to physically touch since his ICE arrest last October.
U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt of Missouri says it looks like a federal work program for international students will be reevaluated.
Senator Schmidt says the optional practical training program has evolved into what he calls a cheap labor pipeline for large corporations and higher education at the expense of American college graduates. The program allows foreign nationals to work in the U.S. for up to 12 months after finishing their degrees and longer if they have STEM degrees. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem has agreed to Schmidt's request that they analyze the program to see if it aligns with U.S. labor and national security interests. Sue Danielson, Missouri Net.
Lincoln County has an arrest warrant out for the Somali migrant who drove for miles on the side of Interstate 61 and failed his English proficiency test. After filing a pair of misdemeanor charges against the driver, prosecuting attorney Mike Wood says he wishes it didn't take an injury or fatality to issue felony charges considering how dangerous the situation was, and adds the CDL licensing needs an overhaul.
I think there could be a lot more uniformity regarding how strict those licensing issues are on the CDLs.
The driver did have his CDL issued to him in Minnesota. Wood has said it's since been revoked by the Federal Department of Transportation.
Before we get to our local sports, let's look at the national report.
AP Sports, I'm Gethin Coolbaugh. Cameron Boozer scored 26 points, and top-ranked Duke beat NC State 93-64 to secure the outright Atlantic Coast Conference regular season title.
A lot of our guys, like Coach said, when they see outright, so it's a big time for our team for sure.
Second-ranked Arizona beat number 6 Iowa State 73-57 to clinch the outright Big 12 title. NBA Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo returned from a right calf strain with 19 points and 11 rebounds in a 108-81 loss to the Celtics. U.S. women's hockey gold medal winning captain Hillary Knight revealed she played at the Olympics with a torn MCL. Giants ace Logan Webb will start the World Baseball Classic opener for Team USA against Brazil on Friday. And NFL, the Lions traded running back David Montgomery to the Texans for offensive lineman Juice Scruggs and 4th and 7th round picks. Gethin Coolbaugh, AP Sports.
In Jupiter, Florida, the Cardinals beat the Marlins 3-2. It was a Marlins roster that was mostly made up in this lineup of minor league players, but it was still a good outing for Andre Palante. He went 3 innings, allowed 1 run on 3 hits, didn't walk anyone, and struck out 2. The Cardinals scored their runs late and walked it off 3-2. They get the win. Mason Wynn was scratched from this game. Ollie Marmol was asked about that, the Cardinals shortstop.
He's a little sore. He had a heavy workday yesterday. I'm not going to push through anything. He's fine, but I don't want, with tomorrow being off, I just said take the day and then we'll jump back on this thing. His schedule initially was to play day 1 on the road and Wednesday be a heavy work day again with some kind of machine work and like simulating situation type stuff. Gotcha. So I'll try to stick to that schedule, but if he wants to play after the off day, then I'll adjust it, but I'd like to stick to what we have.
It is an off day today, a welcome one for the Cardinals, I'm sure. Tomorrow, an exhibition game against Nicaragua in the World Baseball Classic. For the Blues, the trade deadline is approaching. That is Friday at 2 o'clock Central Time. Robert Thomas's name keeps popping in the rumor mill. Certainly Justin Falk, the Blues defenseman, very attractive, probably the most attractive defenseman out there, you would think. He's worth $6.5 million on a cap hit through 2027, and he already has double-digit goals to his credit, a defenseman that will be sought after by a number of teams. The Blues will play tomorrow at Seattle. That is a 9 o'clock face-off for them. College basketball at Enterprise Center while they're out of town. The Missouri Valley Conference men's basketball tournament tips off Thursday. It runs through Sunday with that final on CBS. The OVC tournament kicks off tomorrow in Evansville, Indiana. And tonight, Mizzou plays at Oklahoma. 6 o'clock tip-off for the Tigers. Oregon at number 11, Illinois tonight. That one goes at 8 o'clock in Champaign. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals and Billikens, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hey, it's 6:18. If you're a fan of Sting, you know this song, which means it's time for you to call in and try to win that pair of tickets that we have to see Sting, courtesy of Live Nation. He's coming to Stiefel Theater October 17th. Tickets are on sale right now through Ticketmaster, but if you're our 5th caller at 314-955-1120, we'll give you a pair. 314-955-1120. We're looking for caller number 5. Good luck.
When it comes to your hearing, you deserve expert care. At the Audiology Center, you're treated by certified audiologists Dr. Colleen Bosler, Dr. Adam Foss, and Dr. Bailey Campbell, meaning 8 years of advanced education, clinical expertise, and a commitment to best practices.
Charlie, we offer hearing aids from all major manufacturers, so you get what's best for you. Every patient receives individualized testing, precise fittings using real ear measurements, and personalized programming to ensure your hearing aids perform exactly as they should. And our care doesn't stop once you leave the office. We're committed to helping your hearing aids last through ongoing adjustments, maintenance, and long-term support at no extra cost. Better hearing is personal, not one size fits all. Call us today at 636-441-7470 or visit us online at theaudiologycenterstl.com. And let's take that first step together.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit LanceDruryLaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Now, the news. At 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
6:21, time for us to get you a check of the roadways. Still raining in downtown St. Louis, maybe where you are as well. The forecast on the way. Here's Roger Brandon, the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's led to a few of our problems we've had out there. This traffic reports the service of Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. They did clear the one I mentioned in the last report, eastbound 370 east of Elm Newtown before you get to 94. Traffic's pretty well thinned out through there. Still working to clear that crash. I can see the semi on the shoulder at least. Westbound 70, just before Cypress, westbound 70 is bogged down at the east terminal of the airport. We also have a crash on the shoulder, westbound 70 at the south 170 exit. So it's just a little slow at that point. We're back to seeing a pretty good-sized jam northbound 55 McNutt all the way up to Highway Z. It looks like we could have a new incident there just south of Z. It's bumper to bumper, solid through there. It's typically slow now from the Union Road overpass up across the river to Pear. North 270 around Doherty Ferry and past 64 Ladue. That's also a little slow. Illinois side, things still look great. It's just a little busy on westbound 64 past 159 so far. Midwest winters take a real toll on your garage door. Let my friends at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis come out and perform their 26-point tune-up on your garage door and opener. It's just one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. Next update is 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We do have rain mostly north and east of the downtown area at this point. Cloudy with periods of rain and a thunderstorm or two. High today 57, low tonight 47. Tomorrow, cloudy, occasional rain and a thunderstorm, high 63. Rain should go away by Thursday morning, and then mostly cloudy, high 68. Friday, a high of 81 out of nowhere, like a summer day with unseasonably warm temperatures and a thunderstorm in places. Currently, it's 40 downtown. Let's take a look at the Billikens and what Josh Schertz has going on right now, as SLU will be playing on Wednesday against Loyola. And when they do, they're going to be approaching another sellout. At last check yesterday, SLU had 100 tickets to sell. They have been selling out games left and right at Chaffetz Arena. The Billikens have a record of 14-2 right now in the Atlantic 10 Conference. That's the most wins they've had in a conference season ever. And SLU is going to be taking on a Loyola team that they got up in Chicago, and they're going to be looking to close out the Atlantic 10 Conference regular season. If VCU were to lose today, the Billikens would already clinch that. But they want to get it done at home, of course, and have a little fun in front of their fans. Their head coach is Josh Schertz, and I had a chance to visit with him on Sunday, Sports on a Sunday Morning on KMOX. We talked about a number of subjects, including the fact that this team right now is still considered not a lock for the NCAA tournament.
I mean, you just got to concentrate on what's in front of you. Like I always say, there's a lot of amateur, bracketologists out there that are, I've heard, we have to win every single game now to get in the tournament. If we lose any of these last too. And anything in Pittsburgh, we're out. Somebody said if we lose to Mason and lose in Pittsburgh, we're out. I mean, I don't, I can only read what I read. There's some that are a little better than others. Do I think we're locked into anything yet? No, we gotta, to win the league, we gotta take care of business, on Wednesday night. That's a big thing. We take care of business there. We clinched the number 1 seed in the regular season championship here in the A-10, which is obviously a huge accomplishment. If we can do it, we have 2 chances to do it. Might as well try to take advantage of one at home. In terms of the at-large stuff, most of what I've seen, has us pretty clearly in the field as a 7 or 8 right now. We're going to have a quad 4 at home. We have a quad 2 at George Mason, and we'll likely start Pittsburgh with a quad 2 game. It'll be a top 100 game on a neutral site. So, what I know is, if you go out and you play well and you win the games in front of you, you got a much better chance of getting in than if you lose the games in front of you. And so that's our focus: play well, stack days, prepare well, try to play our best game of the season, Wednesday night against Loyola, then rinse, repeat, and try to throw our best punch and play as well as we can at George Mason, and then try to get ready and be playing our best basketball heading into the postseason. And, the chips will fall. I mean, all the other stuff, the speculation and who, what, how many you got to win. I think when people, they look at it that way, it's the inverse of how I look at it. We talked to the team about this, attacking success versus fearing failure. Let's just try to win the games in front of us and not worry about all the different hypotheticals of, what might happen if we do this, if we do that, if we whatever. We're in great shape. We control our own destiny to win the league. We control our own destiny to make the NCAA tournament as an at-large team. Let's just lock in and attack success and try to win as many games as we can between now and the start of the NCAA tournament.
That is Josh Schertz, head coach of the St. Louis Billikens. That game is tomorrow. We'll have it for you on KMOX. SLU is 26-3 overall. They are ranked 25th in the country, just being put in that place yesterday in the new AP Top 25. 7 o'clock tip-off tomorrow, 6:45 pregame. Again, at last check, 100 tickets remaining. It's probably sold out by now, but you can always find them on the secondary market, I would assume. 6:27 time check, sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Hey, congratulations to Bruce of Freeburg for picking up that pair of tickets to see Sting at Stiefel Theater in October. We'll have another pair to give away tomorrow, so just keep listening. Do you have something that you need to sell? Maybe the biggest asset you have in your portfolio, your home? It's important that you don't screw this up because we're talking about time and money. And you need to really do your due diligence in picking an agent because not all agents are the same. So if you're in the process of finding one, I want you to pick up the phone and call Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Her number is 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888. And really, the name says it all, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. So this is a sure thing. When you call Gloria and she is your agent, she will guarantee in writing that she'll sell your home at the price and time frame you both agree upon, or she will buy that home herself. So you don't have to worry. It will be sold. Plus, she has so many different ways to sell a home. Say you don't want to have your house open for whenever anybody wants to stop by or do open houses all the time. Just talk to her about what you're looking for, what your time frame is, what your price range is, all the things. Gloria will have a way to sell your home guaranteed. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. GloriaHasTheBuyers.com is where to go right now. For Gloria Liu, Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Attention all dog owners. If you have ever listened to the radio or TV for any length of time, you've probably heard of America's #1 dog supplement, Rough Greens. Greetings, naturopathic Dr. Dennis Black, Amazon best-selling author and founder of Rough Greens here. And if your dog suffers from bad breath, itchy skin, licking paws, joint pain, or low energy, the truth is their food is probably to blame. You see, all commercial dog food is dead food. That's why I created Rough Greens. One daily scoop gives your pup the live vitamins, omega oils, probiotics, and enzymes that will bring their food back to life. Don't believe me? Let your dog try it before you buy it. I'll send you a free Jumpstart trial bag, risk-free. You just cover the shipping. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Use discount code NEWS. Don't wait. Give your dog the gift of vibrant health. Order now. It'll be at your house in a few days. Go to roughgreens.com. That's RUFFgreens.com. Discount code NEWS for your free Jumpstart trial bag today. Rough Green. We make any dog food better.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Tax season is here, and Missouri families are already seeing the real impact of the Working Families Tax Cut Act. House Republicans are delivering real results for hardworking Missourians. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, the bill is projected to raise wages in Missouri by about $3,000 to $6,000 over the next 4 years. That's more money for groceries, gas, and greater security for your family's future. In Congress, I'm working to protect working families, strengthen our economy, and ensure you are keeping more of your hard-earned money.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
It is 6:30, and right now we do have some rain, actually some pretty heavy rain in downtown St. Louis, and 40 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand, how's it looking out there, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center?
Well, we still got our jam, Tom, on northbound 55. I can see the flashing lights in the distance. It looks to me like they're in the left lane. We had an earlier incident north 55 at Z. They cleared it. Now there's a new one. So left lane shut down. Northbound 55 is jammed almost midway between A and McNutt coming up to it. So it's solid bumper to bumper there in Jeffco coming out of Festus. You've still got the right lane slowdowns you normally see. Butler Hill to 270, all lanes. Union Road overpass up to River to Pear, pretty congested. North 270 is your ramp on from 55, just slow at the merge on. But then approaching Big Bend up to Manchester, busy after that. It's not so bad. On Highway 70 westbound, we have a crash at the Interbelt. There's a backup coming through Hanley, and then there's that crash involving the semi near Cypress, just before Cypress, the right lane blocked, and there's a jam back through Air Flight because of that incident. So again, highways are wet, storms are moving through, so be careful. Also, looks like we have an incident westbound 15, could just be signal problems there just east of 157. Traffic's backed up past Our Lady of the Snows because of that issue. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The forecast for most of this week is going to be kind of wet. So we've got rain and a thunderstorm or two today with a high of 57, and the rain and thunderstorms will continue tomorrow with a high of 63 and into Thursday with a high of 68. Right now, we are at 40 degrees with thunderstorms downtown.
It's 6:32. An international relations expert tells KMOX the U.S.-Israeli campaign in Iran could lead to a violent power struggle within that Islamic Republic. Iran's supreme leader was killed in U.S.-Israeli strikes Saturday. Webster University's Danny Bello says right now it seems like the existing regime is still in power.
If that regime becomes less stable, then there are many factions that could take power and potentially leading to severe and even violent clashes between them.
Bello says the conflict is already having an economic impact globally as oil supplies are cut.
The local American Jewish Committee says the world is a safer place with Iran not obtaining a nuclear bomb and funding terror organizations. Regional Director Nancy Lisker says the responsibility for these attacks is Iran's.
For decades, they have targeted American men and women in uniform, Europeans and Israelis. They have called the U.S. Big Satan. So, and for decades, they have refused to meet international nuclear guidelines.
Lisker says while she can't speak to what the ideal end game is, she says the world is safer without the Ayatollah.
The war in Iran is bringing changes to a local Air Force base. Scott Air Force Base has suspended the Trusted Traveler Program, which allows authorized Department of Defense personnel to vouch for passengers in their vehicle, granting them entry into the base. In a statement, Scott Air Force Base says visitors can still enter the base, but must present a real ID, passport, or Social Security card with a photo and undergo a criminal background check.
The Metro Edge Figure Skating Club yesterday mourned the loss of Sam Linehan, a coach they describe as a mentor and friend. Sophie Henderson trained under Linehan and reflects to Fox 2 on the coach's influence.
Sam was such a enigmatic light in our lives and just so full of passion and life and meant so much to so many people.
A GoFundMe has raised nearly $70,000 to cover funeral costs and establish a scholarship in Linehan's name.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your Money Minute is next.
Hear me out on this. Let's say, for the sake of argument, you do have a wife or a significant other.
Yeah.
They're just a huge problem in your life. And then you win a giant jackpot. Don't you feel like this is your opportunity to just leave town?
You're not going to file papers because now you're going to be legally bound to this lady.
That's what you get the lawyer for.
You're not even married and you're fantasizing about leaving your wife.
The Chris and Amy Show, weekdays starting at 9 on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Louis area, the St. Charles Boat Show is here March 5th through 8th at the St. Charles Convention Center. See the top dealers from the Lake of the Ozarks and climb aboard your next dream boat. New models, great deals, and summer fun starts here. Visit lakeoftheozarksboatdealers.com for details.
Hey, Happy New Year, big boy. Hey, what's up, Izzy? Also known as the Kool-Aid Man. You got any New Year's resolutions?
I got one, Eddie. I've promised myself to spend more time on that toasty, warm, huge, heated outdoor patio of yours. It's nothing like having your coat off, drinking the coldest beer in town with hundreds of your family, friends.
Man, it is a toasted patio, and that's a great resolution. And, thanks for not mentioning things like weight loss and health kick. And it would be hard in Fast Eddie's. It'd be hard to lose any kind of weight or take away from anything when you got the 5-pound Fat Eddie burger, the hot chick on a stick, that big Elwood on a stick, and those succulent peel-and-eat shrimp.
Yeah, I am not losing any weight hanging around your place. I learned it's a lot easier just to make those resolutions simple and fun, buddy.
Man, and that's easy. You're right. That's a great resolution. So make your resolution fun. And head on over to Fast Eddie's Bon Air. You know where to go across that big, beautiful Clark Bridge and come into Alton, Illinois. So like Mr. Shannon always said, if you're 21 and in the mood, we'll see you at Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Kool-Aid Man.
It is 6:36. You are listening to Total Information AM on a very rainy, stormy Tuesday morning. I'm Debbie Monterrey along with Tom Ackerman, and let's get you your money report from Bloomberg, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. A sell-off for stocks as the conflict in the Middle East escalates. S&P futures are down 1.7%. Dow futures tumbling 815 points. Meantime, oil is extending gains this morning with energy markets upended by the quick spread of the war. Iran pumps about 3.3 million barrels of oil a day, making it OPEC's fourth largest producer. Crude is at $75 a barrel right now. The price of oil accounts for about half of how much drivers pay at the pump. And when oil rises quickly, gasoline prices tend to follow suit. According to AAA, the average retail price of gas in the U.S. is $3.11 a gallon. And in other news, Paramount Skydance plans to combine its Paramount Plus and HBO Max streaming services into a single platform following the acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery. Meantime, the company has no plans to spin off its cable networks after the merger. Paramount expects the deal to close in the third quarter. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Saving money is hard, but what's worse is when you save all year, hoping to use that money for a nice vacation, and then your AC unit dies and that money is gone. Now imagine yourself in retirement. You've saved a nice amount, hoping to use it for fun. But every time you take money out of your 401k, you get hammered in taxes. It's a sad fact, but your number one expense in retirement may not be cruises and trips. It could be taxes. At the All Financial Group, we believe in keeping more of your money where it belongs, with you. Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Tuesday, March 10th and Thursday, March 12th. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. You must qualify to attend. Call today to reserve your spot, 636-230-8824, or go online to yourmoneymattersstl.com. And services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents nor representatives may give any tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions.
Story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereeth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide.
based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
R-E-N-N-E-R, R-E-N-N-E-R.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
It's 6:40. Let's get to traffic. And Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're doing all right out there so far this morning, Tom, as far as big troubles go, but we do have wet roads, and so there are a couple of minor incidents that are creating some backups. This traffic reports service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm, the one I've been keeping an eye on. It's actually been two separate incidents, and it looks like they may have cleared the most recent one again, but it's hard for me to tell looking in the jam. It's North 55, just south of Highway Z. Traffic is a solid jam, almost midway between A and McNutt on northbound 55 right now, and then the right lane's bogged down Butler Hill to 270. There's slow stuff from the Union Road overpass in pockets up to Virginia, north 270, Tesson Ferry, past Gravois, north of 44 to Manchester, and then briefly through 64 Ladue. That's all slow. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway, down onto 64 through Prospect, and it's picking up the pace after that. Westbound 70, they cleared that crash we had at Cypress. There's still some delays west of Hanley to the Interbell. That's where we had a crash that was reportedly on the shoulder. More volume downtown, westbound 64, a couple of spots from the 70 split headed across the Poplar. Northbound Route 3 coming up through Queenie, Monsanto. You've got heavier traffic running through there. And westbound 64, 159, most of the way to 157 slow. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. We're partners committed to you, your business, and your community. From family law to litigation, we're ready to serve. Visit sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
It is 6:41 and the rain continues to fall, although it looks like it's lessened a bit right now in downtown St. Louis. But let's see what's in store for us today and moving forward from Joe Lundberg, our AccuWeather meteorologist.
Yeah, the radar confirms what you're seeing right now, that the heaviest of the rain has now quickly moved east of the city. And from this point forward, probably a couple of light showers, although there can be some embedded rumbles of thunder on occasion for the rest of today. Temperature will moderate this afternoon to a high of 57. We'll see occasional rain and a thunderstorm tonight, the low 47. Tomorrow, a little milder. Again, off and on rain, a thunderstorm, the high 63. Now, we could start Thursday with a shower or thunderstorm, but I think a good bit of the day ends up being rain-free and with more of a south breeze. Despite the lack of overall sun, we're still going to get into the upper 60s. Clouds and maybe a thunderstorm early Friday should give way to enough sun to get to 80 or 81. Cold front comes too early Saturday, maybe a bit of rain early with it. Otherwise, mostly cloudy, breezy, and trending cooler mid-60s and even fall into the upper 50s by day's end. Right now, 40 at St. Peter's with some light rain, 39 at Florissant, cloudy with a little rain, and 41 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Joe, thanks very much. We'll check sports in just 2 minutes. It's 7:43 on Total Information AM. Back to the news we go, and in the news this morning, as the conflict in the Middle East continues, the price you're paying at the gas pump will likely keep going up. Here's KMOX's Michael Calhoun speaking with Matt McLean, petroleum analyst at Gas Buddy.
How directly do the tensions with Iran translate to what somebody sees when they, pull up to the Quick Trip on Manchester Road in Baldwin?
Very directly. And it isn't because the crude oil that is sitting as a reformulated gasoline at the pump there is coming from the Middle East. It's simply because crude oil is actually traded, and it's a global commodity. It's used in the crude oil markets, U.S. dollar, and no matter where you are in this globe, that's what's used to trade crude oil, and that is creating a bit of a glitch, especially when you have the Middle East, where the Strait of Hormuz provides about 20% of the entire global supply that has to travel through there by tanker, now kind of in a limbo situation as to whether or not anything's going to be making its way through there for a while. We've got a problem when it comes to price points. Up to 10 to 30 cents more per gallon is what we are predicting between literally right now and no later than Wednesday morning across the metro area and beyond.
So I guess whether this is a short-term blip or something with staying power kind of depends on what happens in the Strait of Hormuz.
Not only the Strait of Hormuz, but also whether or not infrastructure is going to be damaged in neighboring countries from Iran, keeping in mind Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait. I'm going through the Qatar. I'm going through the list in my mind of the different countries off to its west that also utilize the Strait of Hormuz. If that oil infrastructure is also damaged by Iran, that 10 to 30 cents a gallon is our analysis only by what has happened so far in the conflict. So Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, we've locked in that price point projection. Whatever is happening today, that's not yet factored into a particular price or any day going forward.
So best advice for St. Louis drivers, go, fill up or, take it day by day.
I am very price sensitive, and I know a lot of St. Louisans are as well as really anybody in America right now when it comes to the cost, especially over the inflation that we've all paid over the past several years. Unfortunately, we are in a situation where it is going to be something that's probably going to sting a little bit for the next several weeks at bare minimum. And again, we just don't know the final outcome of this conflict. I wouldn't necessarily recommend going and filling up right then. We don't want to create extra demand at the pumps. But the reality is, get gas when you need it. We will have plenty of gas. We're going to have plenty of oil because basically the American production of oil, that alongside our friends in Canada and Mexico, virtually all of the oil and gasoline that we use in America comes from here in North America. So as far as supply issues, really, it's not going to make any difference for us. It's just the price point that's going to continue to increase as the volatility does as well.
646 in his latest bracketology, Jerry Palm, who has been doing this for a long time, has the following. SLU as an 8 seed facing Iowa in Greenville, South Carolina, with the number 1 seed out there being Duke looming in the second round. Now, SLU, by the way, played Iowa in a secret scrimmage at Chaffetz Arena before the season started and beat Iowa pretty good. But that was then, and this is now. SLU is 26-3. Iowa coming out of the Big Ten. We'll see how those two teams, if they were to end up matching up, how they would look. How about the others? Mizzou, he has in as a 10 seed facing Villanova, the 7, and that taking place in Buffalo, New York. He has in St. Louis first and second round matchups that would make the city very, very excited. This is what Jerry Palm has for March 20th and 22nd in St. Louis at Enterprise Center. You ready for this? Illinois, Louisville, Kentucky, UCLA, Texas, all being here, not to mention Iowa State, the 2 seed. So he has Illinois as a 3, Louisville as a 6, Kentucky facing UCLA in a 7-10 game, Iowa State against Central Arkansas, my goodness, Texas or San Diego State, whoever ends up winning that first 4 matchup. I mean, that is some serious firepower at Enterprise Center if that is the case, and some massive tourism for St. Louis if that's the case as well. All of his bracketology can be seen at palmbrackets.com. That's Jerry Palm. That's some exciting stuff. SLU needs to finish the deal. They play Loyola tomorrow on senior night at Chaffetz Arena. We'll have that game for you at 7 o'clock with a 6:45 pregame. Mizzou plays tonight at Oklahoma. They're going to be an underdog against the Sooners tonight, not by much, about 2.5, the latest spread that I saw. Illinois will be a massive favorite tonight at home against Oregon. That one tips off at 8 o'clock. Cardinals are off today. They won yesterday, beat the Marlins 3-2. We'll get an update from Matt Pauley on the way at 7:15. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals and Billikens, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Our firm handles hundreds of crash cases involving semi-trucks every year. A crash case involving semis is much different, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can leave lots of money on the table. Many times there is separate insurance for the cab and for the trailer. Sometimes there are actually layers of other insurances and excess insurance that some lawyers may not know about because they don't see that many cases. We see these cases every day. Also, there are federal laws governing the hours a driver may drive in a 24-hour period and logs that are required. A crash case involving a semi-truck is a totally different animal than a simple car crash. We have lawyers who only handle these cases. It's all they do. Rolling the dice with the wrong law firm can be disastrous. Call us on your cell phone at Pound Law, pound 529. It's so easy. Injured? Dial Pound Law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
St. Louis, get ready. One of the most powerful voices in country music is coming to the Dome at America's Center on March 7th. Zach Bryan, live in concert.
It'll be fun, but those clouds, I'm telling you, baby.
With the songs you know by heart.
You can see now.
One night, one stage, an unforgettable night of raw, honest music. Tickets available now at Ticketmaster.com. For more information, KMOX.com/events.
Now the news at 1 The Fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's 6:50 and time for us to get you updated on traffic and weather. Looks like a break in the rain for now, at least in downtown St. Louis. More on that in just a moment. Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, there's still issues popping up on the roadways, though, unfortunately, Debbie. This traffic reports the Service of Financial and Tax Strategies. We got one northbound 170. Looks like it's in the left lane, northbound 170 right at the Parkway, so traffic's backed up at 64, and southbound is slow past it. It looks like they cleared the incident we had northbound 55 at Z, but now traffic's jammed north of A up to McNutt, and then it's opening up. So it looks like, I can't tell if there's a new problem at McNutt or if it's just that's where the traffic is starting to open up, but it is a pretty solid jam to that point. The right lane's busy, Butler Hill to 270. All lanes from Bayless up across the river to Paris slow. North 270 approaching Gravois, just kind of busy all the way to Ladue. Southbound 61 south of P down to 64 is slow. Eastbound 70 a little busy right through east of Highway A and east of Bryan Road briefly. If you're on the Illinois side, westbound 64 from the 70 split to the Poplars heavy. There's a jam westbound 15 back near the 13 interchange, most of the way down the hill to 157. It could be signal problems there, and 64 westbound are back up at 159. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Retirement shouldn't feel like balancing a checkbook while blindfolded. I'm Gary Goldberg, and my team helps you see the big picture so you can retire younger, richer, and with less anxiety. Because guessing is not a strategy. Tune in to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
Well, the rain's let up a little bit. We had a bit of a gusher there about 10 minutes ago, but that's, the way it goes here in St. Louis. We just never know what's around the corner. We're looking at right now kind of foggy weather, 41 degrees in the city. As for AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg, cloudy, periods of rain and a thunderstorm or two. High today, 57, low 47. Tomorrow, high 63 with occasional rain. Thursday, rain ends wrapping up in the morning with a high of 68. It's 40 right now.
The news continues at 6:53. A new report from the Illinois Department of Public Health finds exposure to carbon monoxide is more common than you'd think.
Leaders call it a first-of-its-kind report that highlights all known cases of unintentional carbon monoxide exposure in Illinois from 2019 to 2023, be it from fire and smoke, malfunctioning appliances like furnaces and stoves, or gas-powered tools. Health officials say an average of close to 1,000 residents visited hospitals each of those 5 years for exposure treatment. 57 people died each year. The report says CO exposure is not a rare or isolated threat, but rather something that can happen any time of year, especially when residents are at home and using certain appliances and products. The department says increased awareness and installation of carbon monoxide detection systems are key for all Illinoisans. Andy Day, News Radio 105.9 WBBM.
Housing affordability is top of mind as voters begin heading to the polls in Illinois.
More than 40% of Chicagoans say affording a place to live is their top concern as we head into an election season. The poll for the Illinois Realtors finds 23% of people are concerned most about property taxes, 18% more generally the cost of living, That's number 1 and 3 on the list of concerns. Crain's reports crime and gun violence was number 2 on the list of issues people are concerned about. Governor Pritzker is running for re-election. In his State of the State address, he said he wants $250 million to reduce the costs of housing in the state.
How much money is being spent on sports betting commercials? In Missouri, it looks like it's worth it for FanDuel and DraftKings, which handled 73% of sports bets wagered in Missouri for the first 2 months of legalization. They've made more than $120 million in the past 2 months.
The state of Missouri got about $659,000 of that, according to the Post-Dispatch. The two companies got to offset their taxable winnings by deducting all promotional costs, taxes, and other business costs, as allowed according to the constitutional amendment that made sports betting legal.
In Illinois, teenagers are required to take driver's education. In Missouri, that education is optional or assumed to be taught to teens. The House Education Committee in Jefferson City is considering a bill to bring back driver's ed to Missouri public schools. State Representative Roger Reedy of Windsor thinks it will help reduce the teen fatality rate and make roads safer for everyone.
MoDOT says car crashes are the number one cause of teen deaths in the Show Me State. AAA's Nick Chabaria calls the legislation bringing driver's education back to schools a sensible, low-cost solution. He says lack of it means Missouri teens are about 80% more likely on average to be involved in a crash than teens in surrounding states who have required driver's ed.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
Well, a big happy birthday to one of the greatest athletes in the history of our country. And we are very fortunate to have her right here in St. Louis. Jackie Joyner-Kersee is celebrating a birthday today. She is 64. Can I please run down her accomplishments? 3 Olympic gold medals, 1 silver and 2 bronze, 4 golds at the World Championships, 4 golds at the Goodwill Games, 1 gold at the Pan American Games, and an incredible pillar of our community. Jackie Joyner-Kersee.
A gold medal for being a good human, Jackie Joyner-Kersee would have that as well. Other local celebrity birthdays sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Ava Reifschneider, happy birthday to you. Brooke Foster is celebrating today. So are Andy LaPlante and Collie Schaffner, Mary Niehoff from Patty, Robin Cunningham, and Donna Gastoncours of Highland, Illinois are celebrating. And happy birthday wishes to Bill Carson, James Otto Ottolini, and our very own John Hancock.
This is the best birthday ever.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Call 877-WINDOWS. That's 877-WINDOWS. Or head to RBASTL.com.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
For 100 years, KMOX has been a part of St. Louis. Now, those moments live on, preserved, remastered, and ready to be heard again. Discover KMOX from the Archives, a podcast featuring classic audio from a century of service.
Sponsored by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
The KMOX from the Archives podcast, available now at KMOX100.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Let's check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
No, Tom, we still got our crash northbound 170 at the Parkway, left lane block. Traffic's jammed back onto 64. Northbound 55, they cleared that one we had at McNutt. It's still kind of slow through Butler Hill and north of Bayless up across the River to Pear. Westbound 64, backed up through 159 and slow from the 70 split across the bridge. Next update at 710 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is Tuesday, March the 3rd. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
Mayor Spencer takes her police plea to Jefferson City.
Moving funds within the police budget that are set aside for litigation for other matters is fiscally irresponsible.
I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. It'll be cloudy today with rain at times, along with a thunderstorm, high 57.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
It's 7 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez, straight to the Middle East, and Chief Correspondent Matt Gutman in Tel Aviv.
The U.S.-Israeli war with Iran is now entering its fourth day. Buildings leveled across Iran amidst clouds of dust. The wounded lay on rubble-clogged streets. Iran state media claiming nearly 800 people were killed in strikes, over 150 of them schoolgirls in a strike on Minab. Their coffins carried through the streets this morning.
6 American service members were killed in a drone strike in Kuwait. A U.S. embassy in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, attacked by drones overnight. No injuries reported. U.S. nationals have been urged to evacuate 14 countries across the Middle East. Administration officials are expected to brief lawmakers in Washington again today after President Trump sent a legally required notification to Congress about war. Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
There absolutely was an imminent threat, and the imminent threat was that we knew that if Iran was attacked, and we believed they would be attacked, that they would immediately come after us. And we were not going to sit there and absorb a blow before we responded.
Some Democrats, including Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, aren't buying it.
This is Trump's war. This is a war of choice. He has no strategy. He has no end game.
The war is causing serious travel disruptions across the Middle East.
I'm Vicki Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. Julie Hardy was just minutes away from boarding her 2:30 flight from Dubai back to Britain Saturday.
It wasn't until probably about 2 o'clock that the stewardesses suddenly announced that the flight has been cancelled.
She's among hundreds of thousands of travelers across the Gulf region stranded by the war. With virtually all the airlanes closed to commercial traffic, they're left waiting for evacuation flights.
A federal appeals court has rejected the Trump administration's request to delay tariff refunds for 90 days. Correspondent Michael Wallace has more.
The appeals court decision clears the way for the U.S. Court of International Trade to begin the process of crafting relief for businesses that successfully challenged the tariffs, including the toy company Learning Resources, where Stephen Woldenberg is senior vice president.
The administration and the country had no issue taking the money when the tariffs were imposed and collected, so they should be able to just flip it around and hand it back to us.
New data from the American Cancer Society show young people are more likely than ever to get colon cancer. Dr. John Marshall at Georgetown's Cancer Center.
Nearly half of my clinic in Washington, D.C. is under the age of 50.
The study finds people born in 1990 are twice as likely as people born in 1950 to develop colon cancer and 4 times as likely to develop rectal cancer. Some researchers suspect ultra-processed food and microplastics. This is CBS News.
The stars shine brighter on CBS Mornings. This is a slam dunk.
So cute.
Gail came in singing for me today.
On CBS Mornings.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Couponing. Wow, you didn't strike me as the coupon type.
Just trying to stay ahead of inflation. Gas, groceries, everything. It's all more expensive. I need to save wherever I can.
Have you tried Upside yet?
Upside? What's that?
It's a free app that I use that pays cash back for every gallon of gas I buy. You've got to buy gas to get around anyway. Might as well get paid for it.
Come on, does that really add up to anything?
I've already made around $200. The extra cash helped pay down my bills, and I even had a little extra left to treat myself.
And the Upside app is free?
Totally free, and the cash back is real. You can transfer the cash right to your bank account.
I'm downloading Upside right now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BOOST to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BOOST for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BOOST for a 25 cent.
It is 7:04, and it's been a wet morning, so be careful out there on the roadways. We do still have rain in the area, 40 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Joe Lundberg will have the forecast. Let us know what the rain looks like this week. That's coming up in about 6 minutes. An international relations expert tells KMOX the U.S.-Israeli campaign in Iran could lead to a violent power struggle within that Islamic Republic. Iran's supreme leader was killed in U.S.-Israeli strikes Saturday, and Webster University's Danny Bello says right now it seems like the existing regime is still in power.
If that regime becomes less stable, then there are many factions that could take power and potentially leading to severe and even violent clashes between them.
Bello says the conflict is already having an economic impact globally as oil supplies are cut.
The local American Jewish Committee says the world is a safer place with Iran not obtaining a nuclear bomb and funding terror organizations. Regional Director Nancy Lisker says the responsibility for the attacks is Iran's.
For decades, they have targeted American men and women in uniform, Europeans, and Israelis. They have called the U.S. Big Satan. So, and for decades, they have refused to meet international nuclear guidelines.
Lisker says while she can't speak to what the ideal end game is, she believes the world is safer without the Ayatollah.
The war is bringing changes to Scott Air Force Base. They've suspended the Trusted Traveler Program, which allows authorized Department of Defense personnel to vouch for passengers in their vehicle, granting them entry into the base. In a statement, Scott Air Force Base says visitors can still enter the base but must present a real ID, passport, or Social Security card with a photo and undergo a criminal background check.
If someone sues over police misconduct, should a settlement of judgment come out of the police department's budget or the city's general fund? That's what the legislature is asking.
St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer told the Missouri Senate Committee that the city can't manage its finances under these conditions, including if the police board is allowed to move budget line items without city oversight.
As mayor, I have the duty to balance the needs of our citizenry, those who visit, and those who invest in our community. We have to look at our budget not just in a silo, but as a finite amount of revenue.
The mayor, who majored in mathematics, says the city is already stretched dangerously thin.
We're operating on very, very thin margins, and we need a level of accountability and reliability and consistency in order to keep the staff for all of our city departments, including those who plow the streets, fill our potholes, and do the things the city needs to do to keep its citizens happy.
Just last week, the state-appointed police board certified a budget of more than $250 million for the department. That's about $48 million more than what the city had planned to allocate. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Leaders from Festus and Jefferson County met yesterday to discuss what they plan to ask of a potential data center before it can be built. Some of the suggestions included revenue sharing, noise limits, and workforce development. Festus Mayor Sam Richards says he believes the opponents to data centers represent a minority view and isn't sure they will be satisfied.
I don't think we're going to change any of the minds of the diehard people who do not want a data center.
He says tax incentives and electrical and water usage will also be a part of their ask.
Data centers in Missouri have received $77 million in tax breaks. According to the Post-Dispatch, the state has worked to bring in data centers over the past decade through an incentive program that offers those tax breaks.
The incentive program is expected to grow with every data center built in Missouri. At least 5 proposals are being considered in the St. Louis region alone.
From the KMOX business desk, the former site of Jamestown Mall is for sale. The commercial real estate firm marketing it for the St. Louis County Port Authority has already reached out to more than 35,000 developers and investors around the world, according to the Post. The 144-acre site in unincorporated North County is being sold free and clear with no zoning-related restrictions. The remnants of Jamestown were demolished last year. The mall closed in 2014. No asking price for the land has been set.
Traffic and weather next. It's 7:09.
There's nothing like hearing your friends and family clearly. A grandchild's laugh, conversation with a friend, or the punchline to a joke. Charlie Brennan here with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. Dr. Bosler and her team understand that hearing is personal. That's why you'll always work with certified audiologists like Adam Voss, Bailey Campbell, and Dr. Colleen Bosler.
That's right, Charlie. We offer hearing aids from all major manufacturers, so our recommendations are based on what fits you best. With us, we follow best practice fitting methods to ensure your hearing aids are programmed precisely for your unique hearing needs. But our care doesn't end when you walk out the door. As we know, hearing aids require continued support, adjustments, and maintenance, and we offer these services at no extra cost to you. Because better hearing isn't just about devices, it's about reconnecting to the moments that matter most. Call us today at 636-441-7470 or visit us online at theaudiologycenterstl.com.
The 46th Builder St. Louis Home and Garden Show, presented by James Hardy, is back.
This St. Louis tradition returns to America's Center March 6th through 8th.
Shop hundreds of local companies for home improvement deals.
Find ideas, inspiration, and expert advice.
Bring the whole family to watch the adrenaline-pumping off-axis stunt show and the canines in the clouds frisbee dogs.
The Home and Garden Show is back at America's Center March 6th through 8th.
Details at stlhomeshow.com.
In a world of change, music captures the journey of the human spirit. Join the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra for Bernstein and Robertson, American Reflections, March 6th and 7th. Conductor David Robertson returns to Powell Hall to present works by 4 American luminaries, including Leonard Bernstein's Symphony No. 2 and Robertson's own piano concerto, March 6th and 7th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Hey, let's get you a check of traffic and weather, starting with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, we still got this. I can't tell if it's a stall or a crash. Really doesn't matter, though. Northbound 170 at the Forest Park Parkway, left lane still blocked. Traffic's a solid jam back onto 64, so those ramps both ways are bumper to bumper. If you're on northbound 270, Sappington Road overpass up through Gravois, and then north of Big Bend up to Manchester, approaching Clayton Road up to Ladue, those are all slow. Tesson Ferry, Kennerly, an injury crash. Northbound traffic backed up at Butler Hill. Northbound 55 is bogged down near Merrimack Bottom through Butler Hill. Another minor crash on the shoulder north of there. From Bayless up to River to Pears, pretty busy. If you're on southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway into 64 to the Boulevard is slow. Eastbound Highway 70, K to TR Hughes is kind of busy. Downtown, westbound 64, west of 50 through 159, slow 3rd Street to the Poplar. Then westbound 64 on the Missouri side, a little jam up coming through Jefferson. We had a crash closer to Compton before the Forest Park exit, so it's backed up there as well. Next update is 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on this rain.
KMOX AccuWeather. Today and tonight will be cloudy with rain at times, even a thunderstorm or two. Our high today 57, tonight's low 47. Remaining cloudy tomorrow with occasional rain and a thunderstorm, but it will be mild, a high 63. Thursday may start with a shower or thunderstorm, mostly cloudy and very mild in the afternoon. Thursday's high 68. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, we have some rain in the area. Downtown right now, it's just cloudy and a bit foggy, 40 degrees at the Arch.
It's 7:13. The Metro Edge Figure Skating Club yesterday mourning the loss of Sam Linehan, a coach they describe as a mentor and friend. Sophie Henderson, who trained under Linehan, reflects to Fox 2 on the coach's influence.
Sam was such a enigmatic
light in our lives and just so full of passion and life and meant so much to so many people.
Linehan was shot to death in the Starbucks drive-thru on South Grand a few weeks ago. 58-year-old Kenneth Brown is charged with her murder. A GoFundMe has raised nearly $70,000 to cover funeral costs and establish a scholarship in Linehan's name.
The Lincoln County prosecuting attorney is calling for change after a viral video showed a semi-truck going the wrong way on the interstate.
The driver, a Somali migrant with a Minnesota CDL, failed his English proficiency test and admitted to not being able to identify road signs after getting pulled over by the Missouri State Highway Patrol. Lincoln County prosecuting attorney Mike Wood says they've charged him with 2 misdemeanors and have a warrant out for the driver's arrest, but wishes they could do more.
I was personally upset that it takes someone being injured or killed before we're then able to accelerate those charges from misdemeanors up to felonies.
Wood says he referred the incident to ICE and the Federal Department of Transportation, who revoked the driver's CDL. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
If you've been getting calls you didn't ask for, you're not alone. Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway says illegal telemarketing topped the state's consumer complaint list for a second year running. Her office fielding more than 33,000 no-call violations out of more than 104,000 total complaints. Hanaway says the reports help identify bad actors and stop fraud. Missourians can register for the state's no-call list through the Attorney General's website.
Well, it is pothole season, and Missouri could be looking at a bumper crop of potholes this spring. MoDOT's Becky Almaroth says all the ingredients have been present this winter.
It's the perfect recipe, especially this time of year, of moisture getting into the pavement and into the cracks. And then those temperatures that fluctuate between below freezing to above freezing, and even those weeks where we had the very, very cold temperatures, that just wreaks havoc on the pavement.
So be careful out there. MoDOT crews fixed 650,000 potholes last year, spending $20 million. It's 7:15. Let's start things off with baseball, shall we? And get the very latest from spring training.
Now, a St. Louis Cardinals spring training report, sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens and making memories. And by Happy Roof. We always create happy endings on the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
As Andre Palante battles for a spot in the Cardinals rotation, he makes his second start of spring, throwing 3 innings, allowing 1 run in the team's 3-2 walk-off win against the Marlins. Manager Oliver Marmol feels like it's another good step forward for Palante.
Mixed in the slider really well. That pitch was a good one for him. I believe he threw 3 changeups, which is needed when you start seeing the adjustments that the league has made against him. I thought what he did today was a great step in the right direction.
Dustin May, who essentially is a shoo-in for the rotation, will make his first Grapefruit League start on Thursday against the Pirates. Marmol admits with May's addition, they'll be more creative to get all their pitchers the innings they need.
There's just going to be some piggyback opportunities, and they'll ramp up that way rather than have the start of the game.
Marmol also says the club could go with a 6-man rotation to begin the season if that makes the most sense.
If we needed to, I feel like there's a strategy that we feel confident in if we needed to go that direction.
The club often used 6 starters last year, first with Steven Matz in a hybrid role to begin the season, and then when Michael McGreevy was being shuttled back and forth from Memphis. In Jupiter, Florida at Cardinal Spring Training, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Top 25 college basketball, the new number 1 in the nation, stays Duke. Arizona 2, Michigan 3, UConn moves up to 4, Florida is 5. Remember, they're the defending national champions. Since they lost to Mizzou back in January, they have been almost unbeatable. They have been flying. They're 5. Iowa State, Houston, Michigan State, Nebraska, and Texas Tech wrap up the top 10. Illinois dropped 1 spot to 11. They play tonight. They'll be a big favorite at home, 19-point favorite at home against Oregon tonight, 8 o'clock tip-off. Mizzou, they're not too far out of the top 25 right now. They're 4 spots out, number 29 in America, and they play at Oklahoma tonight. They actually will be an underdog in that one. The Tigers are considered to be a slight underdog in Norman tonight. That spread is 2.5. Miami of Ohio plays tonight. They play at home against Toledo. The Redhawks moved up to number 19 in the country. They're 29-0. They're the only undefeated team in the country. Toledo and Miami of Ohio in Oxford tipping off at 6 o'clock. SLU plays tomorrow. They're ranked number 25. The Billikens at home. It's expected to be a sellout at Chaffetz Arena. 7 o'clock tip against Loyola. 6:45 pregame right here on KMOX. The OVC tournament starts tomorrow. Missouri Valley Conference tournament at Enterprise Center starts Thursday. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals and Billikens. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Create the ultimate raised bed garden with St. Louis Composting. Our premium compost and soil mixes are perfect for filling the raised beds you'll enjoy building, and even better for growing fresh, homegrown veggies. Imagine harvesting your own tomatoes, peppers, and cilantro for fresh salsa the whole family can enjoy. And with delivery right to your door, getting started has never been easier. Visit stlcompost.com to order a convenient delivery from your phone in seconds, or stop by one of our 9 locations in the St. Louis area. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens and making memories.
Did you see the forecast? Another huge storm is tracking right for us.
I saw. Honestly, I'm not worried.
Not worried. Your roof is older than mine.
I called Happy Roof. They did a pre-storm inspection, caught a loose flashing that would have caused a major leak.
Wow, I really need that peace of mind.
Protect your happy place before the rain starts.
Booking my free inspection at thehappyroof.com or call 314-897-2310. It's all about the happy ending.
Well, we got a sale alert from McKelvey Homes, the 1898 sale. Here are the details. 1898 is the year that McKelvey Homes was founded. That's 128 years ago, celebrating 128 years of home building. Yes, they are Missouri's oldest home builder, if you were curious. 1898, that's when McKelvey Homes started building homes in St. Louis. And the commitment to quality, prime locations, personal service, building homes for generations remains strong. In March 2026, they are celebrating the McKelvey Homes legacy with the 1898 anniversary sale. From now through March 31st, new home buyers can save big throughout the St. Louis area. Here's the first offer. Save $18,980. That's the sale to Be Built Homes, or select one of their 30 move-in ready homes and save even more, up to $94,000 on their Summerlin Madison display home. Offer number 2, $10,000 or $15,000 free cash to close on all to Be Built homes. And they also have special financing rates as low as 4.99%. It's McKelvey Homes. McKelveyhomes.com. Move up to McKelvey.
Total Information AM. The news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Let's get you caught up at 7:21 on traffic and weather. It's just kind of a cloudy, windy, damp morning. The forecast on the way. In the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center is where we find Roger Brand. What's the latest, Roger?
Well, there's still no change on 170, Debbie. That left lane still shut down. Northbound 170 at the Parkway. Traffic's jammed back onto 64. Westbound 64, you've got the delays that actually begin at Hampton. Not a solid jam, but it's heavy all the way to that North 170 exit. Southbound 61, North and Wentzville Parkway onto 64 to the Boulevard. Slow. Clarkson to about Timberlake. And like I said, right lanes east of McKnight jam to get onto North 170. Southbound 270 approaching Olive down to 64 slow. North 270 just kind of pockets as you ramp on from 55 all the way up to Ladue. It's pretty busy. Northbound 55 looks good down in Festus, but Merrimack bottom all the way up to 270's bogged down. The right lane's more so than the left-hand ones, obviously. And then from the Union Road overpass all the way up through Virginia, it's heavy. On the Illinois side, westbound 6450 through 159 and the 70 split headed across the Poplar. That's all slow. Next update at 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Weather right now, we're looking at a cloudy sky in downtown St. Louis. Taking a look at the radar, we have rain, and it's mostly to the north of us. Florissant, Ferguson, Old Jamestown, Spanish Lake, Bellefonte Neighbors, North County is getting wet. Otherwise, things are okay. We do have some rain happening down in South County around Concord. We have rain, periods of rain, and a thunderstorm or two today, a high of 57, low tonight 47. Tomorrow, occasional rain and a thunderstorm and a high of 63. It's 40 right now.
The news continues at 7:22. St. Louis police may start to face discipline for body camera violations. The new policy is set to be approved tomorrow and was one of the top priorities for the St. Louis Board of Police Commissioners during recent negotiations.
Under the policy, city police officers would face a one-day unpaid suspension for not turning on their body cameras. The second violation would result in a 3-day suspension and a 5-day suspension for a third. Major Janice Bachstruck oversees the department's internal affairs division and said body cameras are the one thing she doesn't give on.
Illinois lawmakers and advocates yesterday announced their intentions to form a bipartisan commission to investigate crimes in the Epstein files that happened in the state. Here's Illinois State Representative Abdel Nassar Rashid.
The Epstein files that have been released raise serious questions about who knew and who benefited, and whether public corruption, obstruction, sexual exploitation, or other crimes occurred not only under federal law, but also state law.
The independent body would have subpoena power as part of their investigatory toolkit. The bill goes to the Illinois General Assembly for consideration.
Housing affordability is top of mind as voters begin heading to the polls in Illinois.
More than 40% of Chicagoans say affording a place to live is their top concern as we head into an election season. The poll for the Illinois Realtors finds 23% of people are concerned most about property taxes, 18% more generally the cost of living. That's number 1 and 3 on the list of concerns. Crain's reports crime and gun violence was number 2 on the list of issues people are concerned about. Governor Pritzker is running for re-election. In his State of the State address, he said he wants $250 million to reduce the costs of housing in the state.
How much money is being spent on sports betting commercials? In Missouri, it looks like it was worth it for FanDuel and DraftKings, which handled 73% of sports bets wagered in Missouri in the first 2 months of legalization. That netted them more than $120 million in the past 2 months.
State of Missouri got about $659,000 of that, according to the Post-Dispatch. The two companies got to offset their taxable winnings by deducting all promotional costs, taxes, and other business costs, as allowed according to the constitutional amendment that made sports betting legal.
In Illinois, teenagers are required to take driver's education. In Missouri, teens are on their own. That education is optional or assumed to be taught to teens. The House Education Committee in Jefferson City is considering a bill to bring driver's ed back to Missouri public schools. State Representative Roger Reedy of Windsor thinks it will help reduce the teen fatality rate and make roads safer for everyone.
MoDOT says car crashes are the number 1 cause of teen deaths in the Show Me State. AAA's Nick Chabaria calls the legislation bringing driver's education back to schools a sensible, low-cost solution. He says lack of it means Missouri teens are about 80% more likely on average to be involved in a crash than teens in surrounding states who have required driver's ed.
The lawsuit that East St. Louis filed against Monsanto for years of pollution has been tossed by a judge who says it was filed too late. East St. Louis is seeking damages for years of toxic chemicals from the Sauget plant, which manufactured PCBs from 1936 to 1977. Incinerated chemicals after 1977 were disposed of in toxic dumps.
The city says Monsanto is in violation of its municipal littering and nuisance ordinances, for which the fine is $750 a day. Lawyers for East St. Louis wouldn't comment to the Post-Dispatch, but did say the city, quote, faces immense financial obligation if it cannot recover PCB cleanup costs through this suit.
The University of Missouri is celebrating a major musical milestone with 2 School of Music professors now officially Grammy Award winners. Stefan Freund and Bill Kalinkos earned the honor for their ensemble Alarm Will Sound and its album Land of Winter. Freund explains to MissouriNet what set the album apart from groups around the world competing for the award.
It was a little bit of an unfair fight because we were in the chamber small ensemble category, and we are a chamber orchestra. We have a conductor, so we have a lot of firepower in our group. I think the album is just stunning.
The album is available on all streaming platforms and on YouTube.
It's 7:27. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable. with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120. Visit Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Universal Windows Direct. March is that time of year when a lot of us start thinking about fresh starts, spring cleaning, that kind of stuff. If you are in the market for replacement windows, here's the deal from Universal. When you buy 2 windows, you get 2 for free with no limit, 24 months with no payments and no interest, giving you 2 full years to enjoy the comfort before paying a dime. $500 bonus off your home improvement project, 314-334-2522 or universalwindowsdirect.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. Do you feel stupid for buying a timeshare? Don't. It's not your fault. You were most likely told you could rent it, and it was a great financial investment. And the deal was available today only. If this happened to you, contact your resort or Wesley Financial Group for help today.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-939-1441. 800-939-1441.
It is 7:30, and right now we've got some drizzle and 41 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Let's see how Roger Brand is seeing things. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, there's still no change northbound 170 at the Parkway. It could be a clogged storm drain because I see a little sheen in front of the cars in front of me. I've never seen the specific reason that left lane shut down, but that's what it looks to be to me. So northbound 170 with that left lane closes, jam back onto 64. If you're on eastbound Highway 64 coming in from out west, you got delays approaching Wentzville Parkway most of the way through 364. It's a couple of slowdowns. There's a slowdown east of Winghaven, Chesterfield Parkway west to Timberlake, and then it backs up at McKnight to the Interbelt. Westbound 64, the delays begin at about the Science Center because of that, or due in part to it at least. Southbound 270, Olive down through Ladue is busy. North 270 backs up as you ramp on from 55 through Gravois, and then 44 all the way up to Ladue. Northbound 55, the right lanes from Merrimack Bottom are heavy all the way up to 270. Northbound Telegraph from Herb all the way up to Pottle looks pretty heavy. 55, of course, north of 270, jammed Union Road overpass to Weber, but still slow to Virginia. And on the Illinois side, westbound 64, bumper to bumper, 50 through 159, and stop-and-go pockets from the 70 split headed across the Poplar. Next update is 740 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is going to be rainy today, periods of rain and a thunderstorm or two, a high of 57. And then tomorrow, pretty much the same with a high of 63, up to 68 with storms on Thursday. Right now, it is 41 degrees.
It's 7:32. How much could the U.S.-Israeli military campaign in Iran impact America's relationships with European allies?
We have to keep in mind that Iran's missiles can reach Europe at this point.
Webster University International Relations professor Danny Bello says that's led to the UK to align more closely with the U.S. and Israel.
Nancy Lisker, director of the St. Louis American Jewish Committee, says the world is safer now that the Ayatollah has been killed. Asked what the ideal end game is.
The hope will be that that part of the world will be a safer place and that the Iranian people will have, again, back the future in their hands and not in the hands of tyrants.
Lisker says she hopes the conflict will be over in a few weeks and that peace will prevail.
The war is bringing changes to Scott Air Force Base. It has suspended the Trusted Traveler program, which allows authorized Department of Defense personnel to vouch for passengers in their vehicle, granting them entry into the base. In a statement, Scott Air Force Base says visitors can still enter the base, but must present a real ID, passport, or social security card with a photo and undergo a criminal background check.
The mayor with a degree in mathematics brings her police budget plea to Jefferson City.
Mayor Kara Spencer testified against a bill she says will let the city's state-appointed police board move budget line items without going before the city's financial oversight board, something no other city department is allowed to do. She calls it a transparency problem.
Moving funds within the police budget that are set aside for litigation for other matters is fiscally irresponsible.
She's asking lawmakers to let the still new governance arrangement develop before imposing more changes, like transferring liability for police misconduct lawsuits from the police department to General City Hall.
My ask is to let us get through this year to figure out the bumps of the road that we have, and certainly there have been, but to continue to strip away the authority of the city of St. Louis through this is not going to help us get to the collaborative goal that we need to be at.
The city's police department is currently staffed at about 871 officers. That's more than 200 short of its authorized strength. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It's 7:34. Your Money Minute is next.
Hey guys, it's Dave from The Glover Show, trying to explain The Glover Show. So when I was a younger man, I used to go to happy hour almost every night, and I loved it. And I've always thought of my show as being like happy hour. It's always interesting. It's often silly, but not always. You know, there are real things to talk about. I am amongst friends, politics, and personal things. So that's what it is, really. It's happy hour for thousands of us every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. And I hope you'll tune in and join the happy hour.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take Dayquil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the Dayquil.
Undo your flu symptoms with Dayquil Intense Flu. Dayquil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
Dayquil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever under your flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, let's get you caught up before we get to traffic and weather. You want your money report from Bloomberg. It's 7:36, and it's sponsored for you by Busey Bank.
This is the Bloomberg Money Minute. Wall Street rattled this morning, futures tumbling with the Iran war, the latest blow to investor sentiment this year. Persistent inflation and ever-changing tariff policies have made it difficult for businesses to plan. Plus, artificial intelligence threatens to shake up a number of industries. Oil spiking this morning, trading right now at $76 a barrel as President Trump vows whatever it takes. Sources tell us the Trump administration has no immediate plans to release oil from the nation's emergency reserve in the wake of the conflict. Among the biggest decliners in the markets this morning are chip makers and memory stocks, with NVIDIA dropping in the early trade. U.S. officials are considering capping the number of artificial intelligence chips the company can export to any single Chinese customer. These restrictions could complicate an already murky picture of when and to what extent NVIDIA can return to the largest market for its products. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
What matters to you matters to us. That's why Busey Bank takes the time to understand your goals and build solutions that fit your story. From everyday banking to long-term planning, our team is here to help you navigate every stage with care and expertise. We're more than a bank. We're your neighbor, your advisor, and your advocate. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Savings at Menards. Mastercraft has been making high-quality doors for more than 50 years. Choose from our huge in-stock selection or design your door your way with our free step-by-step design program. And get your new door in 7 days or less. Save big money on Mastercraft doors. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
Dreaming of college but worried about the cost? The Together Foundation is here to help. The Together Foundation is awarding 5 $1,500 scholarships to St. Louis area students who are ready to take the next step toward their future. Applying is simple, but time is limited, as applications will be accepted through March 31st. Learn more or apply at togethercu.org/scholarship. That's togethercu.org/scholarship. This community message has been brought to you by Together Credit Union.
At Graybar, we know your time is money. That's why our services go beyond parts and products. With kitting, pre-assembly, wire carts, and Graybar smart reels that keep you moving. We stage materials and manage logistics so you can spend less time sorting and more time installing. And with locations nationwide, we deliver when and where you need it, working to make your job easier every step of the way. Yep, Graybar does that.
Being first in line can be very important to homeowners. First in line for the plumber, first in line for the HVAC guy, first at Banner Construction. It's Banner Construction's winter home event, and you can be the first in line this spring and save before the annual price increases. Banner Construction is a James Hardy and Pella replacement windows specialist, and now is the best time to schedule a free in-home consultation with no obligation. Call 314-569-1050. Or check them out on the web at bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Want to build income without a second job? Learn how real estate investing can help you create extra income one step at a time with Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
740, here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still have our issue on northbound 170, Debbie. This traffic reports a service of S&L Coins. It's flooded, a clogged storm drain. The left lane is flooded. Northbound 170 at the Parkway, so it's jammed back to 64. Southbound 170 is bogged down at Olive on the way through the area. If you're on westbound 64, it's impacting you from the Science Center to the Inner Belt. Eastbound 64, of course, delays begin out west, so Wentzville Parkway onto 64 to 364, backed up both sides of Winghaven, Annie Guns to about Timberlake, and then west of McKnight through the Inner Belt, you have the delays. Westbound 64 is also heavy, by the way. Lindbergh out to 270. South 270, 364 to Ladue, slow. North 270, 55 to Ladou's busy. If you're on northbound 55, approaching Butler Hill to 270, the right lanes are heavy. It's backed up, though, from the Union Road overpass all the way through Virginia. Downtown, westbound 64 from 50 through 159 is on the brakes, and then it's heavy, really 5570 Exchange, slow pockets all the way to the Poplar. Next update is 750 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
S&L Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call S&L. 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. S&L Coin.
Okay, AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg, could you navigate this for us? What are we looking at in terms of rain this week?
Off and on rain is really the way to do it for the next several days, unfortunately. So there's multiple waves of low pressure that go by. We're kind of stuck in a rut for the next 36 hours. We've had some thunderstorms early this morning. Most of those are now north and east of the city. And I think from this point forward, it's mostly going to be about occasional rain and drizzle, most of it fairly light. Our high temperature will get up to 57. There might be a rumble of thunder at some point this afternoon. A little better chance for some rain and a thunderstorm tonight. Our overnight low 47. That continues on and off tomorrow with a high of 63. Warmer air will be moving in on Thursday and Friday. And as we make that transition, there can be a shower or thunderstorm around Thursday morning. Then I think it dries out in the afternoon with a high of 68. Friday could start with a shower or thunderstorm early. Then the warmth really takes over. As clouds break for some sun, we've got a shot at 80 degrees. The record of 85 is not out of reach on Friday. Front comes through Saturday morning. We start wet, but I think we dry it out in the afternoon, but it also starts to turn breezy and cooler with temperatures backpedaling from the mid-60s. Right now, just cold and wet. 40 at St. Peter's, 39 in Florissant. Cloudy with a bit of rain, and 41 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:43. Military officials questioning the fortifications at a site where U.S. troops were killed in an Iranian strike. CBS News has learned at least 6 American service members were killed in an apparent Iranian drones attack on a tactical operations center at a port in Kuwait. We get more from CBS News national security producer James Laporta.
It is assessed that the Iranians used a one-way attack drone to attack this tactical operations center. What we've learned is that prior to this attack, when troops first got there, it was recommended that the tactical operations center not be used. One reason was it was hard to defend, and the other reason is because there would be too much of a concentration of troops in one area.
The U.S. is making staff changes to its embassies in the Middle East.
I'm Dale Gavlak in Amman, Jordan. The U.S. State Department has ordered non-emergency personnel and their families to leave Jordan and Bahrain. It also announced that it ordered staff in Iraq to leave as Iran retaliates to U.S.-Israeli strikes. It says it updated travel advisories for Bahrain and Jordan to reflect the order.
Well, some bettors made big bucks on the attack on Iran. Some lawmakers suspect insider trading.
Users of prediction markets like Kalshi and Polymarket correctly placed wagers on when the attack would begin and the fate of Iran's supreme leader. A Polymarket user with the account name MAGA My Man made $600,000. Another bettor won more than $200,000. Some Democrats on Capitol Hill suspect insider trading by people around President Trump. Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy says he will introduce legislation to ban such bets. Some have also raised ethical concerns about betting on the deaths of world leaders. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Speaking of bets, our friend Keith on Facebook says, "You two are awesome. Have a great day. Bet you a beer that the Illini don't make the Sweet 16, Tom." LOL. So Keith and I have a history on this. So he bet me that Illinois would beat Indiana in their college football matchup earlier this year. And as you probably know by now, Indiana, the national champions, scorched Illinois that day, 63-10. So I took him up on a double or nothing opportunity, and we bet on the bragging rights game. I took Mizzou, he took Illinois, and we know what happened there. Illinois absolutely destroyed Mizzou at Enterprise Center that day. So he's going for another one here. He says Illinois won't make the Sweet 16. Keith, come on now. They're one of the best. Don't just because they lost to Michigan. They're one of the better teams in the country. Illinois is. As a matter of fact, people are going to be very happy, I think, in St. Louis to hear what Jerry Palm did in his latest bracket projection. He has Illinois as a 3 seed and playing in St. Louis against North Dakota State, Louisville as the 6, looming as a possible second-round matchup, Texas and San Diego State playing in the first 4 to play Louisville, and then the winner of that getting Illinois. How about that? Who else does he have in St. Louis? Jerry Palm, you can find this at palmbrackets.com, has Iowa State, Kentucky, and UCLA all here. Can you imagine? Illinois, Louisville, Kentucky, and Iowa State fans all driving to St. Louis. That would be St. Louis open for business. That would be big bucks for the city if that were to take place. Where does he have SLU? In the 8-9 game, playing in Greenville, South Carolina against Iowa. St. Louis as the 8, Iowa as the 9. And he has Missouri in the tournament, as they should be. Mizzou as a 10 seed playing in Buffalo against Villanova. Jerry Palm's number 1 seeds, and he has this on the money, I think. Duke, Michigan, Arizona, and UConn. Those are the 4 best teams in the country. We'll see. This is only March 3rd. There's a lot to be played. Still regular season games left and conference tournaments to come. The Missouri Valley Conference Tournament is at Enterprise Center March 5th through the 8th, starting this Thursday. The OVC tournament starts tomorrow. SLU plays tomorrow against Loyola at Chaffetz Arena. We'll have it on KMOX with a 7 o'clock tip and a 6:45 pregame. Not to mention Mizzou plays tonight at Oklahoma. That one starts at 6, and Illinois is at home tonight against Oregon. That one gets going at 8 o'clock. Illinois dropped 1 spot to 11 in the top 25. SLU stayed in the top 25 at number 25, and Missouri's not far out of the top 25. They're ranked number 29 at this point. Let's turn our attention to baseball, and KMOX's Matt Pauley.
The Cardinals get a walk-off 3-2 win against the Marlins, but they score all 3 runs late in the game after regulars had been lifted. This comes one day after the club collects just 1 hit, scoring just 1 run in a loss to Pittsburgh. Despite some offensive struggles, manager Oliver Marmol is not concerned.
No, I don't look at it that way at all at this point in camp. You are looking at individual approaches and at-bats and making sure the intent of what they're trying to execute is there. But yeah, it's still pretty early to start looking at production collectively as a team.
There's still not a timeline on when Lars Nootbaar will be healthy enough to play, but Marmol expects him to bring a lot to the club offensively.
It's a guy that we're counting on, who's put a lot of work in, and we want to see healthy again. He has the ability to do a lot of things and help us win in a lot of different ways.
While spring stats should be very much taken with a grain of salt, the Cardinals' .226 batting average in spring is 4th worst in Major League Baseball. In Jupiter, Florida at Cardinal Spring Training, Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Experience music, magic, story, and wonder with the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra in Scheherazade, Magic and Myth. Feel bold energy and haunting beauty as violinist Leila Josefowitz performs Alban Berg's deeply moving Violin Concerto. Then be swept away by Scheherazade. Saturday, March 14th and Sunday, March 15th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Start your summer early at the St. Charles Boat Show, March 5th through 8th at the St. Charles Convention Center. The top marine dealers from the Lake of the Ozarks will be on site with the newest boats, personal watercraft, docks, and accessories. Step aboard, compare models, and find the perfect ride for your family. Special show pricing and experts ready to help make your boating dreams a reality. Visit lakeoftheozarksboatdealers.com for more information.
If you're getting close to retirement, or maybe you're just thinking about retirement more in general, you're probably thinking about, when can you retire? Will you have enough money to live on? You know, we all have retirement questions that, let's be honest, they're overwhelming and just can stress us out. But Steve All can help answer those questions so that you'll feel more confident about this next phase of your life. Check out his show, The All Financial Hour, Saturday mornings at 10 and Sunday evenings at 6 here on KMOX.
Every spring brings promises, and every spring delivers surprises. This year, the Cardinals are writing a new story, and there will be plenty of surprises. Matt Pauley is in Jupiter with inside access to Camp Cardinals.
Presented by St. Louis Composting. Composting, growing gardens and making memories. And Happy Roof. We always create happy endings.
From breakout performances to roster revelations, get reports throughout the day on the voice of the Cardinals. KMOX. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
7:51. Here is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, there's still no change on the inner belt. We still have this left lane flooded, a clogged storm drain, obviously. Northbound 170 at the Forest Park Parkway, so traffic's jammed. Back to Highway 64. Westbound 64 backs up from the Science Center to that point. Eastbound 64. You've got heavy traffic around Lake St. Louis Boulevard from 364 past Wing Haven, both sides through the Chesterfield Parkways, and then from Lindbergh on in. Southbound 270 approaching 364 to Ladou's busy. Eastbound Highway 70, you've got some slow stuff approaching Lake St. Louis Boulevard through Bryan Road, approaching T.R. Hughes, the Cave Springs area towards Zumbell, eastern 94 through the Blanchette Bridges, busy stretches. By the way, South 170 bogs down at Page and jams from the Parkway down to 64. Northbound 270 slow 55 to 44, but jam 44 up to Doherty Ferry because of an incident, and then remains slow all the way to Ladue after that. Northbound 55. The right lanes are still heavy south of Butler Hill to 270. There are pockets from Green Park, so south of Rivas, all the way up through Virginia. And then again, from the 44 split at 55 up toward the Poplars, heavy. Westbound 70, Mutual Veterans out to Grand is slow. Westbound 64, 50 past 159 and 25th Street to the Poplar. That's all heavy. Next update at 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be raining off and on today. Periods of rain and a thunderstorm. High 57, low tonight 47. Tomorrow, cloudy, occasional rain and a thunderstorm, and a high of 63. It's 40 downtown now.
It is 7:52. Leaders from Festus and Jefferson County met yesterday to discuss what they plan to ask of a potential data center developer before it can be built. Some of the suggestions included revenue sharing, noise limits, and workforce development.
This is Festus Mayor Sam Richards. He says he believes the opponents to data centers represent a minority view and isn't sure they will be satisfied.
I don't think we're going to change any of the minds of the diehard people who do not want a data center.
He says tax incentives and electrical and water usage will also be a part of their ask.
Data centers in Missouri have received $77 million in tax breaks. The Post-Dispatch reporting the state has worked to bring in data centers over the past decade through an incentive program that does offer tax breaks.
The paper says the new data shows the centers in the state have invested almost $2 billion. The incentive program is expected to grow with every data center built in Missouri. At least 5 proposals are being considered in the St. Louis region alone.
Researchers looking at popular weight loss drugs and bone health say doctors should monitor an issue in their patients. A new study presented at the annual meeting of the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons showed over 5 years, about 4% of people with diabetes and obesity who took GLP-1 drugs developed osteoporosis, compared to about 3% who were not on those weight loss drugs. That's an increased risk of about 30% for developing the disease that weakens the bones, making them more likely to break or fracture.
Researchers looking at popular weight loss drugs and bone health say doctors should monitor an issue in their patients. A new study presented at the annual meeting of the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons showed about 4% of people with diabetes and obesity took.
Correspondent Michael George reporting on the biggest cancer threat facing women.
Breast cancer remains the leading cancer among women worldwide. A study published in The Lancet predicts the number of breast cancer cases will rise from 2.3 million to 3.5 million by 2050. The study's authors say the best way to reduce breast cancer deaths are by improving access to diagnosis and treatment, cutting back on red meat and tobacco, lowering BMI, and controlling blood sugar.
Consumer Reports says it has found contaminants in half of the 49 baby formulas it tested. This batch of formulas included liquid, ready-to-feed, hypoallergenic, and alternative protein formulas like soy and goat milk.
Sana Mujahid is Consumer Reports Senior Manager of Food Safety Research and Testing. She says a lot of the formulas they tested are affordable and part of the Women, Infant, and Children program.
Unlike the infant formula that's sold in the EU, even Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, there are currently no limits on the levels of contaminants allowed in infant formula in the U.S.
Oh, everybody wants to get in on a viral sensation. There's more monkeying around with stuffed animals at the zoo.
Punch, the baby monkey in Japan, was onto something. The Phoenix Zoo has shared a video of a 4-year-old Siamang named Bodhi cuddling his own fuzzy orangutan doll. Punch and the toy went viral when his keepers at the Ichikawa Zoo gave him the IKEA plushie as a surrogate mom after his parents abandoned him. Officials at the Phoenix Zoo say Bodhi has a tight-knit family. They gave him the stuffed animal for behavioral enrichment. It's bringing in big bucks on the secondary market after selling out at IKEA. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
It's 7:56.
I'm Andrew Stoles, and this is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
The Missouri Athletic Club. What a year it's going to be for the MAC as they get ready to open the MAC Clayton. Scheduled to open this spring, the MAC Clayton's located in the Pierre Laclede Center. That's at Hanley and Forsyth, the home of the former St. Louis club. Fabulous space. I mean, fantastic views of Clayton, and you can see downtown St. Louis clearly from up above in the Pierre Laclede Center. They will have beautiful facilities for dining, for entertaining, social events, great food and drink. And yes, they will have the athletic facilities there, training facilities, workout facilities at the Missouri Athletic Club Clayton. Third location of the MAC, so making history. This is a club that goes back to 1903. They are located downtown on Washington Avenue. They're located in Town and Country at 1777 DePere Road. And now they are in the Pierre Laclede Center in Clayton, getting set to open, putting the finishing touches on a facility that I know our members and guests are going to have a blast with. You can read all about it. They have renderings and everything else. I can't wait to get in there. mac-stl.org.
At Uline, they know firsthand the road to success is an uphill climb. Uline started in the family basement, and through hard work is now North America's most trusted shipping and industrial supplier. They get what it means to have the support of reliable, hardworking partners. So they keep 41,000 items ready to ship. Whether your company is still in a basement office or expanding cross-country, Uline will be there on your road to success. Visit uline.com.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
Designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying. Just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial # law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
The 46th Builders St. Louis Home and Garden Show returns to America's Center March 6th through 8th.
Bring the whole family to watch the adrenaline-pumping off-axis stunt show and the canines in the clouds frisbee dogs.
Details at stlhomeshow.com.
Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, there's still no change, Debbie, on North 170. Left lane still shut down at the Parkway. Jam back onto 64. Westbound 64, west of the Science Center to Hanley's heavy. And then it's slow again from almost McKnight all the way to 270. Eastbound 64 delays from 364 past Winghaven. And from Mason, it's slow to 270. And then Lindbergh in through the Interbelt. North 270 still bogged down. 55 all the way to Ladue. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
40 degrees and cloudy in downtown St. Louis. I'm Tom Ackerman. Conflict escalates in the Middle East. After the news, Megan Lynch talks with a former war crime investigator and attorney.
Drivers in the bi-state are already seeing gas price spikes. Michael Calhoun goes in depth.
And we also have weather.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Cloudy with periods of rain and a thunderstorm today, high 57.
I'll be back for the Gas House Gang at noon with Bernie Miklas and Chris Ranji. It's 8 o'clock.
Views, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. Day 4 of war, and the U.S. and Israel launched new airstrikes on Iran. U.S. nationals being warned to evacuate from 14 countries in the region after Iran's religious leaders called on Muslims to avenge the death of the Ayatollah Khamenei. President Trump posted to Truth Social this morning, claiming Iran wants to talk. His response, too late. His number 2 is weighing in. Correspondent Weijia Jiang is at the White House.
Vice President J.D. Vance broke his silence about the operation in a Fox News interview last night, saying it could go on for a little or a lot longer. A source familiar with his thinking before the strikes says Vance was personally against them. But if the strikes were to happen, he argued the attack should be big and fast.
Israel and Lebanon have been trading missile strikes. The IDF says its ground troops are now positioned along the border. The BBC's John Donison is there.
We had a huge explosion behind me, sounded like artillery fire, and we've got machine gun fire in the background. This ground operation is now taking place. The Israelis determined to push Hezbollah back.
The Red Crescent reports at least 787 people have been killed in Iran. 6 U.S. military members were killed in a strike in Kuwait. The price of gas here in the U.S. jumped overnight. AAA says the average for a gallon is up 11 cents to about $3.11. Fears are taking a toll overseas.
I'm Vicky Barker at the Foreign Desk in London. Panic at the pumps, one French broadcaster headlines. In Australia, Britain, France, Germany, long lines have been forming outside gas stations with drivers desperate to tank up, trying to stay a step ahead of price rises and possible shortages triggered by the Iran war.
Oil futures soared to their highest levels in more than a year. Some bettors are cashing in on the war. CBS's Michael Wallace.
Users of prediction markets like Kalshi and Polymarket market correctly placed wagers on when the attack would begin and the fate of Iran's supreme leader. A Polymarket user with the account name MAGA My Man made $600,000. Another bettor won more than $200,000. Some Democrats on Capitol Hill suspect insider trading by people around President Trump. Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy says he will introduce legislation to ban such bets.
It's primary day, and the outcome in Texas could determine control of the U.S. Senate. Four-term incumbent Republican John Cornyn is in an 8-way battle to hang on to his seat. Correspondent Ed O'Keefe in Austin.
Republicans have been winning statewide since 1994. Democrats haven't elected one of their own to the Senate seat up for grabs since Lyndon B. Johnson back in the 1960s.
This is CBS News.
Join Adriana Diaz and Kelly O'Grady for the perfect start to your weekend. Ease into your Saturday with CBS Saturday Morning on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
At 8:03, we have cloudy skies, 40 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Tuesday, March 3rd. I'm Megan Lynch. How much could the U.S.-Israeli military campaign in Iran impact America's relationship with European allies?
Mind that Iran's missiles can reach Europe at this point.
Webster University International Relations professor Danny Bello says that's led the UK to align more closely with the U.S. and Israel. Nancy Lisker, the director of the St. Louis American Jewish Committee, says the world is safer now that the Ayatollah has been killed by American and Israeli forces. She was asked what the ideal endgame is.
The hope will be that that part of the world will be a safer place, and that the Iranian people will have, again, back the future in their hands and not in the hands of tyrants.
Lisker says she hopes the conflict will be over in a few weeks and peace will prevail. The war in Iran bringing changes to a local Air Force base. Scott Air Force Base has suspended the Trusted Traveler Program, which allows authorized Department of Defense personnel to vouch for passengers in their vehicle and grant them entry into the base. In a statement, Scott Air Force Base says visitors can still enter but must present a real ID, passport, or social security card with a photo and undergo a criminal background check. The week after the state-controlled police board unilaterally upped what the city would be forced to spend on police, Michael Calhoun reports state lawmakers are looking to make St. Louis, not the police department, responsible for lawsuit judgments.
St. Louis Mayor Carol Spencer testified before a Missouri Senate committee against the bill that would give the city's state-appointed police board more financial autonomy.
Moving funds within the police budget that are set aside for litigation for other matters is fiscally irresponsible.
Spencer tells senators the police department's legal exposure makes that risk even greater.
We had several large settlements, and I believe we have between 50 and 70 cases outstanding that are considerable. You may have seen recently an $18 million judgment. It was reduced to just over $8 million. But these are judgments that often carry very, very significant costs, and they are a large burden to us.
The mayor asked lawmakers to let the still new governance transition to state control work itself out before imposing more changes. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Festus City and Jefferson County leaders met yesterday to discuss potential development of a data center.
Mayor Sam Richards says their goal is to give their negotiator their asks before a potential data center can be built. He says water and electrical usage are not the only discussions they want to have, but also financial incentives.
Well, we have to talk about a tax incentive if there's going to be one. We have to talk about if they're going to put money up front to the city.
Some of the ideas floated included revenue sharing, which drew murmurs from the crowd, up to potentially $1 million a year suggested by City Councilman Michael Cook, along with potential workforce development for students at area high schools and the local junior college. Outside the Festus Public Library, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
From the KMOX business desk, the former site of Jamestown Mall is for sale. Post-Dispatch reporting the commercial real estate firm marketing it for the St. Louis County Port Authority has already reached out to more than 35,000 developers and investors around the world. The 144-acre site in unincorporated North County is being sold free and clear with no zoning-related restrictions. It's now 8:07, still ahead on Total Information AM this hour. We're going to look at how gas prices are on the rise and how our usual mix for gasoline in the Metro East, in the region actually, could push things up even more. Michael Calhoun is going to talk with Matt McLean, analyst at Gas Buddy, coming up at 8:20. Before that, though, we're going to talk with Isaac Amon. He's a lecturer in law at Washington University in St. Louis School of Law. He's a historian and a war crime investigator, so he's going to offer us some insight on the current U.S.-Israeli action against Iran. We'll check traffic and weather in 2 minutes. It's 8:08.
This is Congressman Bob Onder. Tax season is here, and Missouri families are already seeing the real impact of the Working Families Tax Cut Act. House Republicans are delivering real results for hardworking Missourians. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, the bill is projected to raise wages in Missouri by about $3,000 to $6,000 over the next 4 years. That's more money for groceries, gas, and greater security for your family's future. In Congress, I'm working to protect working families, strengthen our economy, and ensure you are keeping more of your hard-earned money.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Midwest winters take a real toll on your garage door. Let my friends at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis come out and perform their 26-point tune-up on your garage door and opener. The work is guaranteed, and it's just one price for up to 3 garage doors and openers. No extra charge for evening or Saturday service. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, since 1926, 100 years. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. That's overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Pizza's here. Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM, Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
8:10, let's figure out where the delays are for you this morning. Roger Brand has an update from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we got a new spot, Megan. Unfortunately, an injury crash eastbound 70, just east of Natural Bridge. So as you get around the bend there, it looks like it's in the left lane. Traffic's jammed back to about Cypress right now on eastbound 70. 70 is also still slow approaching K to TR Hughes, east of Mid Rivers through 370, and the Blanchette Bridge into our city is a little heavy. Looks like southbound K, we had an incident just south of 364. Traffic's jammed almost all the way back to Feisey. That's a real big backup for this time of day, especially. Eastbound 64 still bogged down both sides of Winghaven. It's slow from Mason to 270 and Lindbergh through the Interbelt. The Interbelt northbound still the left lane closed because of a clogged storm drain at the Parkway. So it's jammed back onto 64. Westbound 64 Hampton to Hanley. You're still backed up. Northbound 270 delays from 55. Just slow traffic all the way to Ladue. Eastbound 44. We've got a crash near Laclede Station. It's jammed back east of Lindbergh. Northbound 55 heavy from about Bayless all the way up through Virginia, and 44 from 55 through the heart of downtown, stop-and-go pockets all the way through Grand. Westbound 64, 50 past 159, and Ball Avenue to the Poplars backed up. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Cloudy today and tonight with rain at times, along with a thunderstorm or two. Our high today up to 57, tonight's low 47. Occasional rain and a thunderstorm or two tomorrow, the high 63. There could be a shower or thunderstorm early Thursday, otherwise mostly cloudy and warm, the high 68. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Cloudy skies right now, 40 degrees in downtown St. Louis, 41 in St. Peters, 41 also in Florissant. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. As you heard on CBS News, the State Department urging Americans to leave more than a dozen Middle East countries as Iran retaliates for U.S.-Israeli strikes. This morning, we turn to a historian, attorney, and former war crime investigator for some insight on what's happening in that region of the world. Isaac Amon is lecturer in law at Washington University in St. Louis School of Law. Isaac, thank you so much for taking time to join us this morning.
Good morning, Megan. Thank you for having me.
So based on past conflicts and wars in the region, which there have been many, is it realistic to think that military action is going to be wrapped up in maybe 4 to 5 weeks, as the Trump administration originally suggested?
Oh, that's a great question. We really don't know. I mean, what we can say for sure is that the Islamic Republic of Iran has been around for a long time, nearly half a century. It has armed proxies, the Houthis in Yemen, Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza. Now, since October 7th, when this crisis really started, when Hamas attacked Israel, a lot of the proxies have been neutered. Their leadership has been killed. And most recently, of course, the supreme leader of Iran, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, was killed, as well as top echelon of leadership of Iran. It's plausible to think that some resolution might come within 4 or 5 weeks, but it is difficult to see it ending strictly from a military perspective. Certainly, just from the air. We'll have to see. But events are very fast moving on the ground and in the Gulf.
Let's talk about leadership there. You mentioned that. Would you expect regime change?
This is the great question. I think we are as close as we have ever been to regime change in Iran since the Islamic Revolution of 1979. We're really in uncharted waters. The Ayatollah was killed. President Trump said recently something like 50 members of the top echelon have been killed. There's complete chaos and disarray, as far as I understand, on the ground. And there is, of course, a yearning from vast parts of the Iranian population to rise up and overthrow it. But of course, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, is still intact as an organization. There are besieged paramilitary units, and as we've seen, even as recently as January, the regime has no qualms about slaughtering thousands of people in order to maintain its grip on power. So we don't know, but again, we are as close, I think, as we've ever been to seeing it. I would say that the regime is certainly tottering again to the closest point since 1979.
Anytime this happens, as you know, we all start talking about whether it's going to destabilize a country and even the region. What do you see happening here?
Well, the region is certainly, the crisis is expanding. I mean, it's something impacting now around a dozen countries. And not only the U.S., of course, and U.S. bases and embassies that have been now recently targeted in Israel, and the civilians there, citizens are huddling in bomb shelters. But Arab countries are taking the brunt now. The United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Qatar, and Kuwait. It's coming to the gates of Europe. So we'll have to see again if it expands, but it's quite plausible it's going to. I recently read something that said Saudi Arabia might intervene. We'll see if France and Germany intervene. I mean, this conflagration could grow. It's very plausible.
How concerned are you about any type of retaliation on U.S. soil?
That is, I think, an actual, that is plausible. I mean, the risk of homegrown terror assets is something. I know that major cities in the United States, New York, L.A., D.C., they have increased law enforcement patrols. Today is also a Jewish holiday, and Hezbollah has also targeted Jewish communities on these dates. So it is something to be aware of, and I urge everyone to be safe and to take precautions. We can't take anything for granted, especially again considering how fast events are moving.
Isaac, when we look at the relationship between the U.S. and Israel and the military relationship right now, have they ever been this closely aligned?
They've been aligned for a long time, but this seems to be very close intertwining. I mean, it's a joint operation, right? Epic Fury in the United States, Roaring Lion in Israel, and they're targeting different aspects of the regime, either the military sites and installations by the United States, and Israel's going after regime leaders. So it indicates, a very close degree of a working relationship between the two countries. And we'll see if they are successful, in their ultimate goal of neutering and ultimately potentially toppling the regime.
Ultimately, they could have slightly different objectives, however. So what are the pros and cons there for each country?
Well, I think that in the long run, both the United States and Israel would look with favor on the toppling of the regime. I mean, the Islamic Republic has been anti the United States and anti-Israel since 1979. They have been chanting every Friday, death to America, death to Israel, the great Satan, little Satan. But of course, we have to see, again, we don't know how much it would destabilize the entire region if the regime were to implode. What maybe could happen is looking at Syria. The Assad regime fell in December 2024, also anti-Israel, anti-United States, and this other regime came in that seems to at least be more conciliatory towards both. So short term, it might be very dangerous and precarious, but long term, it might be better for the region, especially for those who want to push back against radical Islamic fundamentalism.
There have been a lot of questions about whether this campaign is justified, whether the threat was imminent, but also whether this military campaign is actually legal under U.S. and international law. What are your thoughts?
So there's arguments on both sides, and I know people on both sides. What I can say is that if this was imminent, at least in the eyes of Israel, and they have an arguably legitimate right to respond as they did, but the regime in and of itself constitutes arguably an existential threat, certainly a grave threat to the maintenance of international peace and security. Again, it's armed the proxies. It's the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism. It's killed thousands of its own people, tens of thousands over the last few years even. So this is not, a great human rights paragon. And so I think there's much argument to be said that this could be seen as a legitimate response. Legally, I would tend to be in favor of that.
What will you be watching for over the coming days and weeks?
Well, we'll have to see again if the, how fast, how frequent the missile strikes are occurring, if future leadership, the next cadre of leadership comes to the fore, if they are removed from power, if the Guardian Council or Assembly of Experts can really anoint a new supreme leader, what happens with the current Crown Prince, the exiled Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, who's in the United States, if he is to be accepted by the Iranian population. Also, though, in the region itself, to see again if the Arab countries join. I mean, if Saudi Arabia intervenes, this, I think, makes the conflict much more massive. If Germany or France intervene, this widens it to Europe. We'll have to see again if we see a reprise of these massive protests and upheaval throughout Iran that we did just a few months ago.
Isaac, thank you so much. Appreciate your time this morning.
Yeah. Thank you, Megan.
That is Isaac Amon, lecturer in law at WashU School of Law, joining us this morning here on KMOX. Coming up next, Michael Calhoun is going to look at the impact on gas prices of what's happening in the Middle East. Hopefully you won't have to burn too much gas getting to work or school this morning. Roger Brand has the latest from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
You're getting held up in a couple of places, unfortunately, Megan. Eastbound 70, Mid-Rivers up the hill to 370, slow. East of the Blanchette Bridge, it's busy to 270, and then it jams approaching Lindbergh all the way to this crash past Natural Bridge with lane blockages around the bend there at the east terminal of the airport. Eastbound 64 is slow through Winghaven, and then again Mason to 270 east of Lindbergh into Big Bend. 170 north and southbound still delays from the Parkway to 64 northbound. That left lane still closed because of the flooding from the clogged storm drain. Westbound 64 Science Center out to that point is still heavy. North 270 approaching Tesson Ferry through Gravois, and then 44 to Ladue. That's all slow. 44, they cleared that. I guess it was a crash. It was in the left lane near the Edgar Road overpass before Laclede Station. Traffic still jams Lindbergh to about Elm, and then it's picking up the pace. Northbound 55 still slow from Bayless all the way up to Virginia. 44 downtown from 55 out onto 70 to about Branch is still heavy. And westbound 64, both sides of 159 and 70 split to the Poplar still crowded. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Roger. We could see more rain, possibly a thunderstorm or two today, a high 57. Expect an overnight low tonight of 47. Right now, cloudy, 40 downtown at the Arch.
Beat the spring cleaning rush and call Zero Res. Springing forward feels better on freshly cleaned carpets and floors. Let Zero Res remove lingering grime and preparing your home for the brighter days ahead. Check out all the raging customer reviews online with a 4.9 Google rating. This month, buy one, get one room of carpet clean for free. Unlimited rooms of carpet when you ask for the DGS special. Call 314-474-2020 or go online at ZeroResSTL.com. Spell it forward or backwards, spells the same, Zero Res.
Unlock a brighter outdoor space in 2026 with Chesterfield Valley Nursery. Let us be your trusted partner for all your landscaping, lawn, and gardening needs, empowering you to create a haven that brings joy and serenity to your life. From landscape design to property maintenance to our garden center, we're here for you. Houseplants, tree shrubs, organic soil mixes, gardening and plant classes, and more. Chesterfield Valley Nursery's Garden Center has what you need no matter what the season. Visit us weekdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Saturday hours start in March. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram for all class and sale updates.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Italian subs for your finance team at Chicago. Easy Cater. Burritos for your call center crew in Plano. Easy Cater. Bagels for your sales reps meeting clients in Charlotte. Easy Cater. Hot chicken sandwiches for your third shift warehouse workers in Memphis. Easy Cater. Your teams may be spread out across the country, but you've got one platform to feed them all, whenever and wherever they work, with food they love from favorite restaurants. Easy Cater. Food for the workplace, all in one place. Order now at easycater.com.
Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
As we continue on KMOX, Michael Calhoun with you. And gas prices are on the move again. Tensions involving Iran are raising concerns about oil supply disruptions. And we're wondering if drivers in the St. Louis area are feeling it at the pump. Bringing in Matt McLean, an analyst with Gas Buddy, the fuel savings platform that tracks gas prices nationwide. Matt, thank you so much for being with us on KMOX.
Not a problem.
So give us the current snapshot right now. When it comes to the St. Louis Metro, where do gas prices sit, and how does that compare to a week or two ago?
So really across the state, running at $2.80 a gallon. That's up about 27 cents a gallon since last month. About last week, that's actually up about 22 cents a gallon. In the St. Louis metro area, looking at $2.95 a gallon, and that's got prices up about 25 cents from a month ago, about 19 cents a gallon from just last week at this time. Unfortunately, we've got more of a price increase on the way.
Yeah, how directly do the tensions with Iran translate to what somebody sees when they, pull up to the Quick Trip on Manchester Road in Baldwin?
Very directly. And it isn't because the crude oil that is sitting as a reformulated gasoline at the pump there is coming from the Middle East. It's simply because crude oil is actually traded, and it's a global commodity used in the crude oil markets, U.S. dollar, and no matter where you are in this globe, that's what's used to trade crude oil, and that is creating a bit of a glitch, especially when you have the Middle East, where the Strait of Hormuz provides about 20% of the entire global supply that has to travel through there by tanker, now kind of in a limbo situation as to whether or not anything's going to be making its way through there for a while. We've got a problem when it comes to price points. Up to 10 to 30 cents more per gallon is what we are predicting between literally right now and no later than Wednesday morning across the metro area and beyond.
So I guess whether this is a short-term blip or something with staying power kind of depends on what happens in the Strait of Hormuz.
Not only the Strait of Hormuz, but also whether or not infrastructure is going to be damaged in neighboring countries from Iran, keeping in mind Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait. I'm going through the Qatar. I'm going through the list in my mind of the different countries off to its west that also utilize the Strait of Hormuz. If that oil infrastructure is also damaged by Iran, that 10 to 30 cents a gallon is our analysis only by what has happened so far in the conflict. So Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, we've locked in that price point projection. Whatever is happening today, that's not yet factored into a particular price or any day going forward.
So best advice for St. Louis drivers, go, fill up or, take it day by day.
I am very price sensitive, and I know a lot of St. Louisans are as well as really anybody in America right now when it comes to the cost, especially over the inflation that we've all paid over the past several years. Unfortunately, we are in a situation where it is going to be something that's probably going to sting a little bit for the next several weeks at bare minimum. And again, we just don't know the final outcome of this conflict. I wouldn't necessarily recommend going and filling up right then. We don't want to create extra demand at the pumps. But the reality is, get gas when you need it. We will have plenty of gas. We're going to have plenty of oil because basically the American production of oil, that alongside our friends in Canada and Mexico, virtually all of the oil and gasoline that we use in America comes from here in North America. So as far as supply issues, really, it's not going to make any difference for us. It's just the price point that's going to continue to increase as the volatility does as well.
What is the bi-state dynamic here? Is there such a difference, that Illinois drivers should consider crossing the bridge to go into Missouri?
Well, you raise a very good point for folks in Illinois. The gas taxes there are always going to be a little bit more expensive. Let me see if I can actually pull open East St. Louis here. And yeah, we're sitting at $3.59.9 a gallon on average. That is up about 71 cents if this map is correct since last week, about 81 cents since last month. I want to double check on that and make sure because that seems really price dramatic. And so that may be a bit skewed, but we're going to monitor that. The reality is no matter what the case is, prices in Illinois are always going to be more expensive, some 30 to 50 cents a gallon more. Can't really hurt to cross that river if you've already got business in downtown or you've got business in South County, whatever the case may be. Yeah, you're going to fill up. Might as well.
And Summer Blend is pending.
Yes, Summer Blend is one of those things. That's what causes a price increase naturally. In a normal, every year, we are going to see prices increase this time of year. The downside is not only are we going to see those particular prices when the reformulated gasoline, which is now beginning to make its way in certain markets across the country, and over the next 2 to 3 weeks, pretty much everywhere that normally gets reformed gasoline, it's coming, and that is going to increase the price from that plus 10 to 30 cents on top of what has taken place in the Middle East at this point in time. I wish I had better news. Unfortunately, for this time frame, I just don't.
Matt McLean from Gas Buddy, of course, gasbuddy.com. You can find and track the cheapest gas near you. Matt, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Good to be with you.
It's now 8:29. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
You can feel the Clydesdales circling the field. Hear the stands come alive. Smell the hot dogs, the popcorn, and cold beer in the air. See the crowd rise as the first pitch hits the glove. And just like that, a new season begins. The countdown is on until opening day, and tickets start at just $49. Don't miss St. Louis's favorite holiday. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/opening day.
This season, step up to the ultimate game day experience with Cardinals all-inclusive tickets. Enjoy a full buffet, complimentary bar, and unbeatable views inside Busch Stadium. It's great food with great company for every pitch, hit, and home run. Choose your experience in the Budweiser 703 Club, UMB Champions Club, Proficient Red Jacket Club, and more. See the game like a VIP with all-inclusive tickets. On sale now at cardinals.com/tickets.
Wait, Corey from Air Comfort Service? What are you doing in my basement?
Standing behind our work.
It's 9 p.m.
At Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Installation, we take pride in our work. If you need heating service, no matter the time of day or night, we're here to help with 24/7 emergency service.
So you're just going to stand behind my furnace?
Yeah, pretty much.
Can you hand me those paper towels then?
Absolutely. For heating service or HVAC maintenance, visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
Looks like there's still some pretty big slowdowns out there on the roads. Let's get more from Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, you're right, Megan. Looking at another crash on eastbound Highway 70. First of all, eastbound 70 is still a little slow to Cape Springs and Sunbelt, Blanchette, Bridgestone City, but we're jammed approaching Lindbergh up to the Natural Bridge exit where they're working a crash. And now the newest crash is in the right lane, eastbound 70 at the exit to Jennings Station. You can still get off at the exit, but the right through lane blocked. Traffic's backed up to about Lucas Hunt. Still that clogged storm drain left lane, north 170 at the Parkway, both directions of 170 between the Parkway and 64. You've got delays. Eastbound 64 still bogged down past Winghaven, and then there's slow traffic east of Lindbergh through the inner belt. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley heavy, and then Spady to Ballast slow. North 270 bogged down, approaching Gravois midway to 44, and then north of 44 all the way to Ladue still busy. 44 itself is cleared out. 55 northbound, Bayless up to River de Pear, Holly Hills, Loft Power area slow. 44 from 55 out onto 70 pockets through Grand. Westbound 64 approaching 159 midway to 157 is heavy, and then 70 splits of the Poplar. It's slow once again. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
McKelvey Homes is breaking ground on something new in O'Fallon, Strawberry Farms. When McKelvey builds something, they do it right. Visit McKelvey Homes to schedule a tour at Strawberry Farms in O'Fallon. Visit McKelveyhomes.com today and move up to McKelvey.
From the Salika Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, we could see more rain, possibly a thunderstorm or two later on today. It'll be cloudy with a high of 57. We're expecting an overnight low of 47. And then tomorrow, cloudy, occasional rain and a thunderstorm again, a high of 63. We have cloudy skies now, 41 degrees downtown at the Arch. It's day 4 in the U.S. war with Iran. U.S. and Israeli warplanes continuing their strikes. Overnight, a U.S. embassy was attacked by Iranian drones in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Officials say the damage was minor. No one was hurt. CBS News correspondent Imtiaz Tayeb is in the region and says Iran is firing on several neighboring Gulf nations.
Since the start of the U.S. and Israel's war with Iran, Tehran has shocked the region by firing hundreds of missiles and drones at every state across the Gulf, hitting luxury hotels in Dubai.
Oh my God.
Residential areas in Doha, targets in Bahrain and Kuwait, as well as vital seaports and waterways in Oman, forcing airspace closures and grinding trillion-dollar economies to a halt. Iran's aim is to pressure Gulf monarchies to call on Washington and Israel to end the war, but Tehran's calculus appears to be backfiring. For the first time, Qatar's Air Force shot 2 Iranian bombers out of the sky after the world's largest producer of liquid natural gas had to shut down production following an Iranian strike, marking a major escalation. If the UAE and Bahrain, already tied to Israel through the Abraham Accords, were to join, they already have a clear path to security cooperation.
The U.S. death toll in the war with Iran has now risen to 6. Stay with Total Information AM. How many local doctors have ever had to diagnose measles? Not many. We'll learn more about how the region's medical professionals are being trained. And then we're going to ask if the internet is losing all the humans. That's coming up. Your Money Report is next.
I built this business the old-fashioned way. Hard work and a whole lot of spreadsheets.
Yeah, about that, I upgraded us to Odoo. Odoo puts everything we need, sales, inventory, accounting, on one connected platform. No more juggling systems, no more headaches.
So it all works together?
Exactly.
Odoo is the all-in-one business software that makes running and passing on a business easier than ever. Take your business into the next generation. Try Odoo free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Want consistent color for every job? Milo's Pro Rewards members get a 20% paint discount on future purchases after paint annual qualifying spend reaches $3,000. Plus, order eligible in-stock paint and paint supplies by 2 p.m. for free same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Improving is easy at Lowe's. Excludes spray paint and mist tints. More exclusions, terms, and conditions apply. Subject to change. Details at Lowe's.com/terms. Same-day delivery valid in select zip codes. Subject to driver availability. Details at Lowe's.com/same-day delivery.
Turning 50 doesn't mean slowing down. It means getting smarter about your health. That's why we created Neovitin Men's 50 Plus Multivitamin. It's doctor formulated to support your energy, immune health, and overall vitality. Plus, it's made in the U.S. using the finest domestic and international ingredients. Take control of your health with supplements you can trust. Look for Neovitin Men's 50 Plus at your local Schnucks, Dierbergs, or online at neovitin.com. Neovitin, made for men who keep moving forward.
Larry Older here. You know, one of the most rewarding parts of sharing Relief Factor with you is hearing real stories like that of Sandra. She tells us, I've been hearing about Relief Factor on the radio for a couple of years, and I finally decided to try it because nothing else was helping my back pain. I know the feeling. With a 3-week quick start, she said, I went for it. Now I feel like a new person. That's Sandra's own words, and it's so gratifying to hear. I've told you about my brother Kirk, having difficulty going up and down the stairs in the morning. He wouldn't listen to me. I told him to take Relief Factor. He finally did. Began moving better, feeling stronger. Too bad he didn't listen earlier. Try it for yourself. The 3-week quick start, and see how Relief Factor could be your game changer too. It is only $19.95. Think about it. Do the math. Less than $1 a day. So call 800-4RELIEF. That's 800, the number 4RELIEF, or go to relieffactor.com. All one word, relieffactor.com. How will it feel to be out of pain? 800-4RELIEF, relieffactor.com.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gattner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
Wall Street is bracing for a rough day. President Trump has vowed to do whatever it takes, forcing traders to confront the possibility that the Iran conflict will last longer than originally expected. That's sending stock futures plunging this morning and crude spiking. Oil is at $76 a barrel. The International Energy Agency says it's ready to help stabilize the global oil market in the wake of the war. Oil production in the region remains largely unaffected. However, flows through the Strait of Hormuz have been significantly impacted. Sources tell us the Trump administration has no immediate plans to release crude from the U.S. Strategic Reserve. And shares of Best Buy surging this morning, the retailer reporting better than expected profit for the most recent quarter. Demand for consumer electronics lifted its earnings results. Best Buy is looking to continue growth after a blockbuster release of the Nintendo Switch 2 boosted results last year. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With a Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free no-risk consultation. 800-284-1238. 800-284-1238. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. 800-284-1238.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Leaders from Festus and Jefferson County met Monday to discuss what they plan to ask of a potential data center before it can be built, including revenue sharing, noise limits, and workforce development. Missouri's Attorney General says illegal telemarketing calls topped the list of consumer complaints last year, followed by issues with auto dealers, debt collection, and online retail purchases. And the war in the Mideast sending shudders through global energy markets. Oil prices are up more than 6%. Let's check the roads this morning with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we keep having problems pop up, unfortunately, Megan. This traffic reports the service at Chesterfield Fence to Deck, westbound 270, jam 203, most of the way to Route 3 due to an incident. We got a crash with injuries. Only the right lane's open, westbound 270 at 170. Traffic's jammed back to Washington. Elizabeth and eastbound is slow at Lindbergh. Still have crashes on eastbound 70. 70 still slow from about 5th Street to Earth City. It jams from the Rock Road to Natural Bridge because of that crash. And then the crash at Jennings Station in the right lane has a jam back at Lucas Hunt and a westbound delay coming out of the city. Looking at it, still that clogged storm drain, the left lane closed. North 170 at the Parkway, jam back to 64. Southbound Ladue through the area is still heavy. Eastbound 64 Lindbergh into Big Bend, slow. Westbound 64 Hampton to Hanley are on the brakes. North 270 crash blocking the left lanes north of Gravois. Traffic's jammed near the Sappington overpass. Then north of 44 up to Ladue, still heavy. 55 Bayless Weber, slow. 44 from Park Avenue out onto 70, still some heavy traffic. Westbound 64, still slow both sides of 159 and the 70 splits of the Poplar. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today. Now offering 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. I'm Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's going to be cloudy for the rest of the day, and we may see more rain, possibly even a thunderstorm. Expect a high today of 57. Right now, cloudy skies, 41 downtown at the Arch. Last week on Total Information AM, we featured a story about how some medical professionals have never seen a measles case, and it may be delaying diagnosis. How prepared are the medical professionals in our region to identify measles and respond. I reached out to SSM Health Chief Community Health Officer, Dr. Alexander Garza. You will recognize the name as he served as the incident commander for the St. Louis Metropolitan Pandemic Task Force. Dr. Garza, thanks for joining me.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for the invitation.
I'm wondering if you know how many doctors in our region have ever diagnosed measles. It's been rare for decades.
Yeah, I would say very few. And the reason why I say that is, of course, we haven't seen many cases of measles for decades in the population. And so it's very unusual for a clinician to be the one actually diagnosing a case of measles because of the vaccine that's been used for decades.
Dr. Garza, I understand that it has similar symptoms to a number of other things. So, what's the protocol that's being used to help medical professionals diagnose any measles cases?
Right. So medical facilities have a series of procedures and protocols in place. And I would say they've taken on a heightened awareness now because of increase in recent cases of measles. So there's a protocol in place. It's a very stepwise fashion. If a patient has these specific complaints, meets these specific criteria, then this is how you need to handle the patient. These are, the steps you need to take. These are the tests you need to order. And so it's all organized into a single algorithm that makes it easier for the clinicians then to decipher, is this a case of the measles?
No, you well understand, some of these cases can come into emergency rooms, some into pediatrician's office, some into urgent care. How do we coordinate all that across all those avenues where people may seek medical attention for measles?
Right. So we try and build in those different scenarios into the different algorithms that we've built to. So, for instance, there is a policy and procedure about what to do. Say if a mom calls the pediatrician's office and says, hey, my child is experiencing these symptoms, and then the clinic can then use this algorithm to decipher, okay, is this suspicious for measles? And then follow the protocol. So things such as you don't want to bring them into the waiting room. You want to bring them into a separate entrance. You want to have the nurse physically go out into the parking lot to take a look at the child to see if this looks like a suspicious case of measles. A little bit different in emergency department and in urgent care where patients walk in, without appointments. And in those cases, if it's something that is suspicion of measles, then there are specific protocols on how to room the patient, what precautions the staff should take, all of those different things to minimize the possibility of spread.
One question that comes up, I think, because we did experience the pandemic, is whether there's a system in place now to share information and coordinate response among agencies and organizations in the event that more cases do appear in our region.
Yeah, so it's not nearly as formal as when COVID was occurring, but there are established communication groups for disseminating this type of information. That's mostly led through public health. And so there's an ability for them to then blast out information to all the healthcare partners to say, hey, this is a suspected case or a confirmed case of measles. And this was where the patient was. So you want to do contact tracing, all those different things. And it also puts the healthcare facilities on a higher sort of level of alert to be on the lookout for these sorts of signs and symptoms because we know we have a known case. Again, but those are well-established sort of patterns for a lot of communicable diseases. So it's leveraging that system, but nothing that's specific for measles per se, like we had in COVID.
Are there facilities and equipment in place to quarantine patients properly if needed?
Yeah, there are. And so you have to understand that measles is an airborne disease. And so our infection preventionists have well-developed plans, policies, procedures, equipment, all of the PPE that we all got to know so well during COVID those are all in place at the clinical sites, so that if there is a suspicion of measles or another airborne infectious disease, that we're able to take all of those appropriate measures, protect staff, protect the patients, all of those different things that we're responsible for.
Dr. Garza, is there the capacity to handle a large scale outbreak in the St. Louis region like we've seen in other parts of the country?
Well, we are fortunate in that we do have a robust supply of healthcare accessibility within the region. And so I do feel confident that we would be able to handle a large increase in cases of measles. Now, there's always a limit to that, as we saw during COVID. But the good news is that there's a fairly significant percent of the population that is immunized against measles. And so there could be a rapid increase in number of cases, but would it spread dramatically beyond those? It would be unlikely. And so I think given that scenario, the St. Louis region would be able to handle an outbreak of measles without too much difficulty. Of course, it always puts a stress on the system, but being able to handle it, I don't think that it would put too much stress on the system.
As the public watches this, what do you want them to know?
Yeah, so I think the biggest things are vaccination is highly effective and very safe, and so the biggest way, or the most successful way to prevent things like this is to be vaccinated. If somebody is unvaccinated, then being on the lookout for these signs and symptoms. If you've been exposed to somebody and you're immunocompromised, things like that, then just to be aware of this is how it presents for our medical staff and for our clinical staff. It's also bringing awareness and education that this is now present in our communities. And so there's this old saying in medical education that says when you hear hoofbeats, you got to think of horses and not zebras. But in this day and age, that may have been true in the past, but we have a lot more zebras in our herd now. And so we need to think a little bit differently when we're hearing those hoofbeats.
That's SSM Health Chief Community Health Officer, Dr. Alexander Garza. Dr. Garza, thanks for your time this morning.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Megan.
And just a couple of things on measles. Of course, it is a highly contagious disease. The CDC says symptoms typically begin a week to 2 weeks after infection. Those initial symptoms include high fever, cough, runny nose, and red watery eyes that progresses to the measles rash that typically begins at the hairline and then spreads downward. Coming up, is the internet dead? We'll find out when we talk with Webster University's Julie Smith.
Being first in line can be very important to homeowners. First in line for the plumber, first in line for the HVAC guy, first at Banner Construction. It's Banner Construction's winter home event, and you can be the first in line this spring and save before the annual price increases. Banner Construction is a James Hardie and Pella replacement windows specialist, and now is the best time to schedule a free in-home consultation with no obligation. Call 314-569-1050. Or check them out on the web at bannerconstruction.com and have a banner day.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
The 46th Builder St. Louis Home and Garden Show, presented by James Hardie, is back.
This St. Louis tradition returns to America's Center March 6th through 8th.
Shop hundreds of local companies for home improvement deals.
Find ideas, inspiration, and expert advice.
Bring the whole family to watch the adrenaline-pumping off-axis stunt show and the canines in the clouds frisbee dogs.
The Home and Garden Show is back at America's Center March 6th through 8th.
Details at stlhomeshow.com.
In a world of change, music captures the journey of the human spirit. Join the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra for Bernstein and Robertson, American Reflections, March 6th and 7th. Conductor David Robertson returns to Powell Hall to present works by 4 American luminaries, including Leonard Bernstein's Symphony No. 2 and Robertson's own piano concerto, March 6th and 7th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Hi, this is Charlie Brennan. I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. YourEyeDoc.com.
What's the dead internet theory? Well, it's when most of the content is actually created by artificial intelligence and bots and not human beings. Let's talk about it more with Julie Smith. She is our expert on the media and instructor at Webster University, public speaker and author as well. Good morning, Julie.
Hi, Megan.
How close are we to this?
I think closer than we realize. The Atlantic magazine says that 52% of the accounts we see on social media platforms are actually bots. And now with the proliferation of AI slop and so much clickbait, I think it's really hard to tell what's authentic online and what's not. And so much of it is just artificially produced.
That was going to be my next question for you, is how hard is it to discern who is a real live human being online?
Well, that's been a challenge forever, right? To figure out if you're talking to a real human or a bot. But I think it's getting harder and harder, especially with AI, because some of these bots could even post videos of themselves that look real when they're actually not. And what's interesting to me is that dead internet theory used to be this real fringy theory years ago, but now it seems to be really picking up speed because, the political bot networks exist. Spam bots fill all the comment sections. Some of the engagement is false even. It's like we're just seeing the internet full of nothing but engagement farming and rage bait. And we only see what the algorithms show us. So it just doesn't feel as organic as it used to feel.
If it's all AI or chatbots or algorithms creating this content, even creating videos, what impact does it have on the content itself?
I think the content is going to be increasingly nothing but engagement farming. Anything that will encourage people to click and keep people online longer. So I don't see the content being, here's pictures of my grandchildren as much as it is, here's what Trump said last week.
Do you think this will make the problem of mistrust of information sources and the proliferation of misinformation worse?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Misinformation feeds so much of the internet and the engagement and the algorithms. So I think if these are bots creating this AI slop and rage bait, then it's just going to continue. We rarely see, like the internet, we only see what the algorithms give us. So if we've clicked on anything that was bot generated earlier, before, we're just going to see more of the same.
Is there any way to stop this cycle of artificially created content and even some of the trends that are artificially created?
If there is, I'm not aware of it. I think the platforms are in a really weird spot because they're still making a lot of money. But if they get rid of the bots and the AI slop and the clickbait, that's going to cut down on the engagement that the users have. And then that's going to cost them money. And so I don't see any improvement coming, at least on behalf of the platforms.
When you interact with an account on social media, how do you know that it's someone who is an actual person in real life?
Yeah, that's a trick. It's easier to spot a bot than it is to spot a real human. So if you get a follow on one of the platforms and the username ends with 6 or 7 numbers, that's an immediate red flag. If the grammar is weird, that's a red flag. And some of the platforms now have a thing that you can click on about this account and find out where it's actually based. So there's a lot of American political accounts that are actually based in Nigeria and Malaysia. So it takes more time on our part to have our antennas up for this, but it's certainly worth it because then we know that we're getting valid information.
Julie, thank you.
You bet.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by Lenseek.
Frustrated you can't sleep? Try staying awake instead. Insomnia can lead to worry about sleep and performance anxiety.